Call this meeting to order pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and amended on March 28th of 2025. Governor Maura Healey signed into law an act extending pandemic-related authorizations related to public meetings, allowing remote meeting options for public bodies through June 30th of 2027. So the December 8th, 2025 Select Board meeting will be conducted via remote participation by the board. And I'm going to go ahead and give permission to Westwood Media Center to record the meeting. And to anyone else who is wishing to record the meeting, I would just ask that you identify yourself. Hearing none, seeing none, we will jump into the chair's update. And we're going to start out with the Toys for Tots. So between now and December 14th, the Westwood Public Safety Communications Center at the Police Department and the Westwood Fire Department are collecting toys for the Marines Toys for Tots program. And you can donate a new unwrapped toy by dropping it off at any of the following locations. You can drop it at the police station at 588 High Street in the main lobby, and at Fire Station 1 at 637 High Street, also in the main lobby, or at Fire Station 2 at 300 Washington Street. Sticking with the Christmas theme, and Joe, you mentioned this, I believe, at the last meeting that you were at, was the Wreaths Across America, a nonprofit organization whose mission it is to remember the fallen and honoring those who serve, and teaching the next generation the value of freedom. Now, this group executes this mission in a number of ways, but the most public way is to decorate veteran graves with a wreath in December. Wreaths Across America places the wreaths at graves in Arlington National Cemetery and across the country. In 2008, the U.S. Congress voted for the second day in December as Wreath Across America Day, and this year that falls on this coming Saturday, December 13th. Each participating organization will host a ceremony to reinforce and remember, honor, and teach the mission. After the ceremony, wreaths are placed at each veteran's grave. Wreaths are picked up later in the season by the sponsoring organization, and this year the sponsoring organization here in Westwood is the Westwood Youth Hockey Program. They will decorate approximately 900 graves with wreaths. A ceremony and the wreath laying will be held this Saturday at 2 p.m. in the Westwood New Cemetery. Noah French, the Westwood Youth Hockey Board member and coordinator for Wreaths Across America, notes that the event is open to the public with parking available at St. Margaret Mary's Church until 4 p.m. Todd and Jilly, the Boston Bruins anthem singer, will also attend and perform the national anthem. And then finally, last thing on the chair's update, I just want to note and commend the group that's puts together the Westwood Wire. If you received the most recent wire, it was jam-packed with great information. So I just want to encourage folks to sign up for the wire and other town mailings. You can do so by visiting the Westwood Town website at www.westwoodma.gov and click the Stay Connected page. And you can sign up for the wire and a number of other notifications and get trash and recycling notifications and meeting notifications, etc. So that's what we've got for the chair's update. And Molly, I'm going to turn it over to you for the town administrator's update.
Thank you. I have a couple of staffing updates. So we have two new team members with us. Kevin Myers has joined the team as our new public health nurse, and Brianna Clanton has joined as our newest public safety telecommunicator. And then I also just wanted to give a shout out to our most recent firefighter hire, Matthew Ferreira, who graduated from the Massachusetts Fire Academy last week. The second update is regarding the East Strait signal. I just wanted to give the board an update that we were in contact with them last week and this morning. Mass Bay Electric has confirmed the delivery of the arm is on schedule between December 12th and December 26th, and that construction is expected to start directly after the arm is delivered. And those are my two updates.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, next up, we will be going to public and press, and at each meeting, we include a 15-minute public comment period following the chair and town administrator updates. during which the public can comment on any issues in the town, and they are allowed to participate in one of the two following ways. If you'd like to speak live and be unmuted, just use the raise hand function in Zoom and we will acknowledge you and unmute you. If you'd rather submit your questions using the Q&A function, you can do that as well. In either case, we ask that you identify yourselves by stating your full name and your address, or doing so in what you write in the Q&A. Each speaker is going to be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. We will not be responding to questions during this time as the select board, but we will be listening to all the concerns raised and shared by the public. Now, we also have a number of public hearings in tonight's agenda, and that's a little bit different. There, the rules are the same in terms of how you can participate in terms of speaking live. You can use that raise hand function, or you can put a comment into the Zoom Q&A. Again, identifying yourself by name and address, and again, being part of the maximum of 3 minutes. We will only respond to questions related to the public hearing agenda item. So with that, I will open up to our public and press. And I see 2 hands raised. I'd like to recognize Howard Messing. If we could unmute Howard. And Howard, if you could provide your name and address, please.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is Howard Messing, and I reside at 36 Abbey Road. Westwood's been my home for 34 years. I am speaking tonight because I'm deeply concerned by the board's decision to sue our land trust, and I'm here to ask you to withdraw the lawsuit immediately. I want to address this on 3 specific points: misuse of public funds, conservation integrity, and community trust. First, on the misuse of public funds. The town is currently spending taxpayer money on legal fees to sue a volunteer nonprofit group. We need to ask why. The goal of this lawsuit is to enforce a lease that benefits a single private for-profit business. While we all value local agriculture, it is not the municipal government's role to bankroll the legal expansion of a private commercial enterprise. Every dollar spent on these lawyers is a dollar taken away from our schools, our roads, and our public services. Using public tax dollars to fight a legal battle for private gain is a misuse of your fiscal responsibility to this town. Second, on conservation integrity. The Westwood Land Trust has said no to this project for 9 years. They are the experts we have entrusted to ensure that protected land stays protected. They've done so based on environmental data, independent studies, and their sworn duty to protect the land. By suing to override them, you are setting a dangerous precedent. If the town can sue to break a conservation restriction, whatever it sees a better use, then no protected land in Westwood is genuinely safe. You are asking a judge to rule that the political will of the select board matters more than the permanent legal protection of the land. That is a legacy this board should not want to leave behind. Even the original donors have stated that a commercial farm was never their intent. Why are you fighting the very people who gave us this land? Third, on community trust. This lawsuit was filed without a town meeting vote and without broad public debate. It drives a wedge between neighbors and creates an adversarial relationship between the town and its own residents. I understand the farm wants to expand, but wanting something does not override a legal contract. The land trust has determined that this expansion would materially impair the meadow. That is their job. That should be the final word. 9 years of no is not a negotiation strategy. It is a decision. It is time you respected it. In conclusion, this lawsuit is legally dubious and socially divisive. I ask you tonight, drop the lawsuit. Accept the land trust decision. Stop spending our tax money to fight a battle the town does not want. Let the meadow remain what it was promised to be, a beautiful meadow. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Messing. Next, I'm going to recognize Erin Sibley, as I don't see anything that's been put in the Q&A. I didn't miss anything, did I, Tish?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. My name is Erin Sibley. I live at 182 Bay Colony Drive, 20-year Westwood resident. I also wish to speak to the board about the lawsuit against the land trust. I am trying to understand exactly why you initiated this lawsuit and why you continue to pursue it. Specifically, I would like to know who came up with this idea and when. Why did you reject a recent offer to buy the meadow back, reportedly for over $400,000, without any public discussion? Did you conduct a financial cost-benefit analysis before making these decisions? And if yes, why have you not shared that with the public? And if no, why not? Are there other public interests other than financial ones which led you to make these decisions? I am unable to identify a valid public interest behind your actions, and the fact that this board cannot or will not articulate one strongly suggests to me that none exists. In fact, the lack of transparency and refusal to engage in public discussion suggests to me that this board is prioritizing something else entirely. If you are advancing the interests of a private business behind closed doors at taxpayer expense, this raises serious concerns regarding your compliance with the Massachusetts open meeting laws and conflict of interest rules. To my mind, the CR and the Land Trust are working precisely as they were intended, which is to preserve undeveloped open space for the benefit of current and future generations of Westwood residents, and to keep this space out of the hands of those who would develop or degrade it for their private use and benefit. This board clearly wants to release the meadow from the CR. There is actually an established way to do this under Massachusetts law, but this process requires, quote, transparent municipal review, end quote, and a valid public interest justification. In my opinion, because both of these are lacking, the board is instead pursuing this lawsuit as an end run around it. You have each taken an oath to act faithfully on behalf of the town, and you owe us your undivided loyalty. We trust you as stewards of our public funds and our public lands. This lawsuit violates both your oath and our trust. You are wasting public funds, degrading public lands, and ignoring the concerns of the community. You seem to be elevating private interests above the public good. And finally, you appear to be attempting to bypass a lawful process which was meant to protect conservation land in cases exactly like this one. Lawsuits takes away community resources from other priorities and is a lose-lose for all but a few of us. I ask you to drop it immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, the only other question or comment that I see is from one Peter Schuler of 779 Gay Street. Mr. Schuler says, would you please tell the Westwood residents why the lawsuit against the Westwood Land Trust is what is best for all residents instead of just one individual resident? Please tell the residents something. Thank you, Mr. Schuler. I see a Kathy, but I don't see a last name. So, Tish, if you would, Kathy, if you would either put your last name up or state that when you come in, I'd appreciate it. If you would unmute Kathy.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I was gonna just do a Q&A, but maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm not used to all these technical things. But my question was, I understand that you have this period of time where you allow people to voice their concerns. My question would be, because I have similar opinions to the people that spoke previously, mainly about sort of apparently to me being secrecy of the whole situation.
Kathy, I'm sorry.
When
Before you begin, can you just give us your full name and address?
Oh, sorry, Catherine Shinopoulos, 106 Colburn Street in Westwood.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to ask if the select board, considering the concerns that people have presented and either here live or in letters to the editor in Westwood Minute and the Hometown Weekly. If the select board is intending at some point to address these questions publicly, because I think part of the problem is that there really isn't a complete understanding of the motivations and how the whole process started and, what the, I don't know, I can't think of a better word, what the business is of the select board in trying to solve this problem for the bean farm. Anyway, I haven't prepared any comments, so it's kind of off the cuff, but I would really like to know one way or the other if there will be some public information coming forward from the select board. Because otherwise, I think you're still going to be hearing these concerns. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. I don't see anything further in the Q&A, though I do see Maria Constantini with her hand raised. I will acknowledge her and allow her to be unmuted to be able to speak. And at the end of that, I think we will be close to our 15-minute time limit. But Tish, if you would unmute Maria.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. What I'm going to read now is a letter that I and a few other people in Westwood wrote to the Boston Globe in response, and is meant to be a response to their article, Saving the Last Farm in Westwood. In this article, Kelly Coven provided a one-sided version of what is happening in Westwood to save the bean farm. At stake is the Clubhouse Tree Meadow, which is under a conservation restriction to save for generations to come. This 29-acre meadow abutting the current bean farm, described despairingly by Colin as mostly woods and wetland, is a rich ecosystem that provides critical habitat for diverse wildlife, including large number of pollinators. The wetland helps to regulate the water levels, reducing the risk of flooding. It is a vital ecosystem abutting houses, the farm, and the road. The Westwood Land Trust is responsible for monitoring the property and enforcing the terms of the conservation restriction. They should be commended for their cautious approach to managing the land. It is true that the CR for the meadow allows for some agricultural activities, but the land trust requires that it be given a detailed description of the nature, scope, design, and location of these activities to assess their impact. There are concerns that commercial operation will threaten the health of the nearby streams, introduce pesticides and herbicides that will destroy the ecosystem. This land was donated to the town of Westwood, and the select board has the responsibility to protect it.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
The last comment that I see in the Q&A, and this will be the last one for public comment this evening, is from Carrie Silandria, 97 Bay Colony Drive. When will the select board respond to these questions publicly and in a written format? Thank you, Ms. Silandria. Okay, moving on to our scheduled action. I believe we have Nancy James coming in to make her annual presentation regarding the Pan Mass Challenge Kids Ride. So if Tish, you could let Nancy in.
She is here. Nancy, you're muted.
Nancy, if you're out there, you're on mute. So if you could unmute. Hey, Nancy. If you're having microphone trouble, would you let us know by putting something in the Q&A?
I was able to just unmute, so sorry for that.
Quite all right.
So yes, good evening. I am here to request approval to have our 17th annual Westwood PMC Kids Ride on Sunday, May 17th. Just one minor change to the day that we have planned is we are changing the route a little bit. We currently have a 1 mile route. We'll continue that 1 mile route and then extend it a little bit to go up Marjorie Lane, over that little footpath, then up Sunrise, down Beach, and back down Marjorie to Martha Jones, to the schools. We needed a little something longer for some of the older kids. So that's the first change. And the second is every year I say that I could not do this without the support of the town. So the support has been incredible every year. Truly grateful for that. And then finally, just from a logistics standpoint, I have reached out to Westwood Fire and Westwood Police, just to let them, or just to check in about the date to make sure that that was okay with them, and they're fine. And I'll continue with approvals, filling out the building use form and things like that.
All right. This is an annual event and that has been a big success for the past 16 years, and we appreciate you being the organizer and the champion of it. Any questions from my colleagues?
Yes, just very quickly, if I may, Nancy, how many years have you been serving as coordinator of the PMC Kids Ride?
Well, 20. So I was named as the coordinator, or asked to be the coordinator in 2019. And then we all know what happened in 2020. It felt like a lot of starts and stops. So 22 was the first year that we officially were able to start back up again.
Well, I want to thank you for your service. It's such a great event, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Joe, any questions?
No, but I'll echo what Marianne had to say. I think it's a terrific event, and I enjoy riding it when I can very much, and hopefully I'll be able to this spring.
I hope so. Appreciate the support.
Well, then I'd entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to do so. I'd make a motion for the Select Board to approve the 17th Annual PanMass Challenge Kids Ride to be held on Sunday, May 17th, 2026, pending approval from the school department, obtaining appropriate permits from the Town Administrator's Office, Board of Health, and Building Department and Public Safety.
I second that.
All right, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Congratulations, and we wish you great weather.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nancy.
Appreciate the support. Good night.
All right, next we have an update from our friends at Westwood Media Center. We have Michael Gay and Patrick French who are joining us. So, gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Rob, members of the Select Board, and residents of Westwood. I'm Michael Gay, here tonight as the chair of the Westwood Media Center Board of Directors. Joining me, as you mentioned, Rob, is Patrick French, the Select Board appointee to our board. We're here tonight not for action, but just to let all of you know that we're going through a leadership change. Unfortunately, Melinda Garfield has decided that she's going to be moving on as the executive director from the Westwood Media Center board, and has submitted her resignation, which is effective December 31st, 2025. Before we go on and further updating the board, I personally want to take a minute to acknowledge the incredible impact that Melinda has had on this organization and the town of Westwood. She joined us back in January 2016 when we were still Westcat. And under her leadership, she's completely transformed the organization in every conceivable way. From an infrastructure perspective, she took us from the jail cell. Yes, there was a jail cell in the town hall that was the Westwood Media Center home when we were Westcat, and she turned it into a state-of-the-art studio at 15 Purwall Street. It became the model for media centers across Massachusetts. Most recently, she navigated difficult financial realities of public access television by overseeing our strategic move to Deerfield, ensuring that Westwood Media Center is positioned for a sustainable future. While it was a difficult move for Melinda and the staff, she did it with grace, and it was the right thing for the town of Westwood. Probably most importantly is crisis management. Melinda was the backbone of the town's transparency during the COVID-19 pandemic. She ensured that government meetings and community connection continued via Zoom when we needed it most. While it wasn't in the job title of Westwood Media Center, we effectively became the Zoom help desk, and we made sure that transparency never missed a beat during a really difficult time. Melinda's leaving us with an amazing product and a legacy of high quality production. We're so proud of the work that she's done, and wish her every success in the next chapter. Patrick's going to walk us through the continuity plan, and this is more of the update for the board.
Thank you, Michael. So while Melinda's departure marks the end of an era, truly, our priority is ensuring that there's absolutely no disruption to the services to the town and that the select board rely on. So as such, we launched the search for a new executive director in late November, and we're currently active in that process and expect the screening and hiring to run through early January. So to bridge the gap in the interim here, we have a strong transition plan in place. So we're pleased to announce that Charlotte Lynch will be stepping into the role of interim executive director. So thank you very much, Charlotte. Congrats on that. From a production continuity perspective, Evan Cardamino will continue his role leading production management, ensuring that meeting coverage and events remain high quality throughout. And we're also happy to say that to further ensure a smooth handoff, Melinda has graciously agreed to stay on in a contractor capacity through the end of February 2026. So this will allow us to retain her great institutional knowledge while the new director gets up to speed. And back over to you, Michael.
Yeah, and to close, I just want to emphasize that the search is being led by a committed team of 5 volunteers. The search committee is comprised of the full board of directors for Westwood Media Center. It's myself and Patrick, Dottie Powers, Chris Giovino, and John Cummings. We're fully committed to finding a leader that will continue the amazing services Westwood Media Center delivers to Westwood, and Westwood has become so accustomed to receiving. Again, as I mentioned earlier, there's no formal action by the select board tonight. We simply wanted to ensure full transparency regarding this change and our plan to move forward without interruption. To put it bluntly, we will not miss a beat in production services with both the staff from a Charlotte perspective and an Evan perspective. They're 2 critical aspects of our organization. Melinda will stay on to oversee some of the administrative tasks and to transition. We're happy to answer any questions. And again, we thank the town for all the support of Westwood Media Center and the continued support going into 2026.
Well, thank you both for being here. I'll open it up to my 2 colleagues before I have any comments myself. But Joe, Marianne, have you guys got anything you want to say?
Yes, please. First of all, thank you, Mike and Patrick, for all that you're doing for WMC and for being here tonight. I want to thank Charlotte for stepping up and continuing her great work. And mostly, I want to echo what you've said, Mike, about Melinda. And I think you used the right verb in describing her work, which is she has transformed Westwood Media Center. That is the fact of the matter. And our community owes her a huge debt of gratitude. I am so grateful to her for all that she has done. I've gotten to know her through Westwood Media Center, serving on Human Rights Task Force with her, and just as an all-around amazing person. And very sorry to lose her in this capacity, but grateful for all she's done for us and wishing her all the best in future endeavors. Thanks.
Thank you.
I agree, Marianne. I was just going to add that, and Mike and Patrick, nice presentation, and wishing you the best in the coming days. But Melinda, as a true leader, really set the tone as being warm, welcoming, and understanding. And all of the staff down at the Media Center embrace that concept. I think they are just absolutely outstanding. I want to thank Melinda for her service, and she's done an outstanding job. And all the folks down there just absolutely terrific. So wishing you all the very best. That's it for me, Rob.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marianne. And, I'll echo what you both said. And Mike, you summed it up really well. And Patrick, having served in the very role you were in myself as the select board liaison to the Westwood Media Center board, I was there when Melinda arrived and watched her mold that very transformation that Mike witnessed. And so, yes, we'll be sorry to see her go, certainly, and wish her very, very well in whatever is next in the chapter of her life. But I hope you guys are able to find the next dynamic leader, because this is essential in how we conduct the business of the town. Not just, in being sort of the archive of all public meetings, Mike, as you talked about, having gotten us through the pandemic years, but also, there's a significant role that Westwood Media Center plays at annual town meeting, at many of the things that we do in terms of events such as the Veterans Day ceremony we did the other day. They were fantastic in the production of that and all of the audiovisual support at the event itself. So, Melinda, we wish you well. Thank you so much it's been a decade, right, Mike?
It has indeed. It'll be a decade in about 3 weeks.
Yes. Well, good luck, gentlemen, with the search. Thank you very much for the update, and we look forward to meeting the next executive director.
We'll be able to say that they started right around the same time as Connor Reed. So change is a but here in the town of Westwood, but it'll be a good change. And we wish Melinda nothing but the best in her future endeavors.
Absolutely. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have another public hearing. This one is related to 26 Dartmouth Street. I believe we have Colin McCarthy from the Westwood Fire Department, as well as representatives from 24M, who is the tenant at 26 Dartmouth Street. And so I don't know if Nora is also joining, but I will turn it over to whomever is taking the lead from the town staff side.
Rob, would you like me to make a motion to open the hearing before we turn it
I
over?
sure would.
Thanks, Rob. I would like to make a motion to open the public hearing this evening on 12/8/25 for Seyon Group LLC 24M for fuel storage license at 26 Dartmouth Street.
I second that.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marianne. We'll do a roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. This hearing is open.
Nora, can I ask you to get us started here?
Sure. So you have an application before you for a fuel storage permit, and it includes a flammable chemicals material list. And that list has been reviewed by the fire department, the health department, and the building department, and the town planner. And it appears to be generally consistent with the hazardous materials list, which is much more extensive, that the planning board approved as part of their special permit. There was a review just to make sure the quantities were expressed in comparable terms, and that has been conducted. And no one has raised any concerns on our end.
Okay, thank you, Nora. Do either of my colleagues have questions regarding this application?
If I may, I know that Dedham Westwood Water was consulted with respect to this. I'm not sure if they are present tonight, but I just wanted to make sure that all of their questions were answered to their satisfaction.
So I know we did receive comments from Dedham Westwood Water District, and 24M responded to those comments today. I think that went through Tish, so I don't know if you heard back from Blake Lucas on any response from those comments, but they seem to be fully addressed.
I heard back from Steve Locke, and he is actually an attendee. So would you like me to bring him in, or?
I suppose only if they had any questions that need to be addressed further. If the questions were addressed adequately, I think that would be fine. But
He had his hand raised for a brief moment, but oh,
I think it would be helpful just to hear from him.
sure.
If he's in the meeting, if
Yeah.
that would be.
Why don't you admit, Steve?
he's joining. Here he is.
Welcome, Steve.
How you doing, Chair? Thank you for admitting me. I actually, excuse me, I actually have our engineer from Weston and Sampson, Nicole Lewis, who I'd like if you could invite her because she's been looking at the specifics of it. There was a couple issues, as Nora said, that we asked for and they're immediately addressed, and there's just a couple of questions and concerns that Nicole would like to bring up. As it is in Zone 1 Wellfield, we feel, obligated that we need to address these, while we have the opportunity.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the questions that you and Nicole have, and I have no issue with admitting Nicole as well, but I just want to make sure they are related to the fire material application.
Yes, the tank and specifically the questions are to do with the nitrogen tank and the chemical tank that is on the loading dock.
Okay.
So just to point out, the nitrogen tank is not among the flammable chemical inventory that are being considered under this license. That is under the materials that are considered by the planning board in granting of its approval. But the loading dock, I think that the underground tank to capture spills in the loading dock is definitely related to this application.
Okay. Tish, if you would, or someone let Nicole in as well, so we can just hear what the concern is with respect to that. She's on her way in.
Hello.
Welcome, Nicole. Okay, so we have this application in front of us, and there were some questions. Just want to make sure that we have received the questions and you all have received answers that are adequate. So if you would
Yes, so we had several questions. They did respond. One of the responses, on the spill mitigation storage tank underneath the loading dock area, I believe that was relatively new to us, so it did raise some concerns over secondary containment. And we had some follow-up questions on design for that. So if you would like to get into secondary containment for that tank now, or if it's more applicable that we follow up offline.
Well, I guess so. Nora, let me turn to you in terms of the timing need for this, because if there is additional back and forth that's necessary, I would continue this to a future meeting.
So the spill containment storage tank is part of the original approval that was granted by the planning board as part of the special permit. So it's not new information for us. It is related to all materials that are brought into this facility. So not just the general hazardous material, but also the flammable materials. So I think it would be appropriate for you to hear the questions, but with the understanding that the tank has already been approved. It was approved in 2023 by the planning board.
Very good. Okay. So what was the question with respect to the loading dock area?
So it's more so a question of, how will, if this tank starts to leak, first of all, how often is it inspected? Is there potential for it to leak into the ground? I mean, all of our viewpoints are from a potential to contaminate the water system. So it's not from a viewpoint of protecting the facility with regards to fire protection.
Understood.
Um,
Does someone from 24M want to, Tyler, you want to respond to that? You're on mute.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Well, first of all, thank you very much to the select board and the residents of Westwood for hearing us out here this evening. To Nicole's question on the containment tank, and I will ask that Kipros, if you want to add anything to this as I go through, please do. Kipros is or Kip is the senior factory design engineer for 24M and 26 Dartmouth. The tank is equipped with a level sensor that is tied to both a local and a remote alarm, and it is intended to be dry at all times. So if there is any liquid that ends up in that tank, there will be a local alarm within the loading dock and receiving area, as well as an alarm that we can push out through our building management system to email or text message. So if for some reason this occurred while there was limited staff on site or after hours, excuse me, we would be notified. I will say in terms of the usable lifespan of the tank or the materials of construction is what I'm really getting to. We put this under a microscope to ensure we were selecting a material that is impervious to any of the materials we use in our processes, whether within the scope of this particular application or outside of it, and the longer material list that was referenced previously. So that's Kip, correct me if I'm wrong, that's a PVDF tank. So a fairly robust plastic to our chemistries.
Just one follow-up question, Tyler. You mentioned, that the alarm would go off regardless of whether the building were, heavily populated or not. I imagine, though, at receipt of any deliveries, there obviously are people on site to handle the receiving. So the
Correct.
odds are probably very low of having something go off when there's no one there. Yes?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially with the materials we're talking about here, this is not something that we take lightly. It's, for a variety of reasons, very important for us to make sure these are received safely, appropriately. They're high value to 24M, so there's a business interest as well.
Kip, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, thank you. The only thing I'd like to add is to get a little bit into the construction of the tank itself, because it's not just a single walled vessel, it's actually a double wall vessel as well. And it has a separate leak detection if that wall is penetrated, the inner wall is penetrated, for an additional alarming that comes out to the BMS, which is our building management system, and then also gets pushed out via email notification. So if anything were to trigger, we are immediately notified. That's it.
Thank you, Kip. Mariana, I see you have your hand up. You have a question.
Yep, just to follow up on Nicole's question on the question of how often the tank would be inspected.
Kip, do we have that defined to your knowledge?
Rule of thumb, excuse me. The rule of thumb with process vessels, I believe, is 5 years. So with tank inspections for pressure vessels, that's the case, but I don't think we have anything defined at present for this per se. I'll have to dig into that further.
Okay, so for everybody else here, that's something we would define. Obviously, once we've met any sort of regulatory requirement, as Kip just mentioned, we then define in our O&M manual for the site. And 5 years feels lengthy to me as an operations professional. So if there's a specific request for more frequent inspection, we'd certainly be more than happy to entertain that.
Given that Nicole and Steve are here representing the Westwood Water District, Westwood Dedham Water District, and the importance of that site, I would think maybe an annual inspection would be appropriate. I don't know if that is something that it doesn't certainly sound onerous, and it's, I think, good for peace of mind's sake. Steve, unless you guys have thoughts on, any other frequency.
No, I think that's a great idea. Nicole and I basically talked about that, an annual inspection. Sounds like a great idea.
Thank you. Joe, I see you have your hand up.
Thanks, Rob. What do you have for an access port?
Excuse me, the question was on access port to the
Yes.
tank. Is that correct?
Yes. Do you have like a manhole cover?
Correct. If I may. So the tank construction, it's not just a tank. There's actually a fully sealed concrete insert in the floor of the loading dock, similar to doing a support for a manway out in the street, as I understand it. And basically the tank exists isolated within that chamber. And then we have a reinforced ceiling to that concrete. I'll call it a bubble for all sake, cylinder, basically, and for all intents and purposes, with a full manway that can be removed, and the tank can actually be physically removed through that chamber if needed to be repaired.
I'm sorry, but you'll have to explain the difference between a manway and a manhole inspection access.
It's a manhole.
Yeah, I'm used. OSHA's come out
Sure,
with
go ahead.
regulations about physical inspections of tanks. Let's say number 2 oil tanks, and they've increased the size of that. So I'm not used to the language that you're telling me.
And maybe I'm not used to the language from OSHA in regards to this manhole. So I guess what's the question?
Who has physically seen the access port?
It's visible from the slab grade, at grade. It's a cover that can be unbolted from the concrete. You can be lifted, and then you have full access to the top of the vessel.
But not to the interior of the vessel.
The vessel itself is sealed. So there is access ports on it, which can be removed, which is a cover, but it will have to be unthreaded from the fitting there. And then you can actually see the interior of the vessel. We could provide the cut sheets for the installation if that helps.
No, I'm just thinking about the annual inspection. It doesn't sound as routine as other inspections that I've seen done. Sounds you've got a double hull vessel with an
Correct.
access port to see the top of it, but you don't have easy access to the interior part of the tank. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
Okay.
So you'd have to unbolt the cover, the manhole cover from the slab, remove that cover, then you're viewing the top of the tank. The top of the tank has our instruments installed in it, and I believe it's a 12-inch or maybe 16-inch removable cap that can be unthreaded from the top of the vessel. You can do a full inspection of the inside of the vessel.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Thank
No
you, Joe.
problem.
Thank you, Kip.
Apologies for the confusion.
You know what? It's better to ask these questions well in advance. So I appreciate everybody being here and the patience, and this is the time to do that. So Nicole, Stephen, I'm just going to ask you, are you satisfied with what you've heard from Tyler and Kip?
I am, some of the 200-gallon tank, I think is, if I am incorrect, from what I read this earlier, that the chemicals come in 55-gallon barrels at most. So, I mean, you'd have to spill 4 of them. So I think they did take good precaution in doing this. obviously, as the water district, we're just trying to do our due diligence and make sure that, our well fields are protected. And, but my questions have been, concerns have been satisfied. Nicole, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I'd just like to follow up on that discussion and confirm that you plan to put in writing additional spill response procedure, including notification chain of command and any kind of action items following, I guess, prior to implementation of this spill mitigation tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Defining who's notified, who has to respond, and so on. That we'll define that within our O&M manual, so it's crystal clear who has responsibilities. One, who will be notified, and two, who has responsibilities for responding. That will also include, I should note, a reference to, and this is a little bit broader than the topic we're talking about here, but to two contractors that 24M has standing response contracts with. So you can imagine like the Clean Harbors of the world and a competitor of theirs. So, heaven forbid, we did have an incident where we had something captured in this containment tank and needed to mitigate that quickly, that it's clear who from the 24M side is taking action and then who they're reaching out to as well to get further assistance to make sure this is dealt with utmost care.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order, if I may.
Certainly.
Are you also planning on notifying the Westwood Water District of any incident down there in your operations manual? And does the Westwood Water District want to have that notification given to them?
Is the just a clarifying point for myself on the 24M side, is that sort of, are you referring to live notification as we were talking about in terms of alarm and so on, or notification?
I'm talking about timely notification to our water district should you have a problem down there. And I'm asking the water district if they are interested in having that as well.
Why don't we start with the water district's answer to if they're interested in having that, and then we'll get Tyler's answer.
Absolutely.
Okay, Tyler?
Not a problem. We will do that.
Okay. Colin, Chief McCarthy.
Yeah, I was just going to add on that note, it's standard operating procedure for the fire department if we have any sort of hazardous material incident within that water district area that we notify the water district as well as other agencies as well. So we would also cover that as long as we were notified.
I imagine, Tyler, as part of your operations manual, that would be a standard operating procedure would be to notify Westwood Fire?
Correct.
Okay. Other questions from my colleagues?
Not for me.
Okay.
No, I'm just trying to encapsulate what we've discussed in addition to the plan that's before us. And what I've identified is that in addition to what is laid out in the proposal, that 24M will provide a defined spill response plan to the Dedham Westwood Water District, and will timely notify Westwood Water District of any event, and further will conduct an annual inspection of the tank. Have I encapsulated that? And I'm looking at you, Steve, and Nicole.
That's it.
I see Nora Lockname with her hand up, and I before you speak, Nora, I do have one follow-on question to Mary Ann's recap of the action steps. Is what form does sort of certification of that annual inspection take? So Nora, if you could weigh in with whatever it was you had originally raised your hand for.
Yes, so I just wanted to clarify, there is an operations and maintenance plan that has already been submitted to and approved by the planning board. So I think what we're looking for here is not necessarily a submission of a spill response plan to Dedham Westwood Water District, but we're looking for updates to the operation and maintenance plan for further approval by the town, including a submission of that approved plan to Dedham Westwood Water District. And then that would include the annual inspection, and it would detail exactly what that inspection is. And it would also detail what would happen in the event of a spill, how soon the material that was in that tank would be removed, and whether or not the tank would then have additional inspections over and above the annual inspection based on a spill. That can all be covered in a revised operation and maintenance plan.
Okay. So given those things, is there anything precluding us from well, let's be first open the public hearing to any comments or questions from the public. I do see, I think, Joe, you have your hand up, so I will go to you because I don't see anything from the public at this point.
I'll make it quick, Rob.
Sure.
In that ops plan, is there anything about the alarm test points reporting that they do work as described?
So if it's not already addressed in there, that would be addressed in the revisions, that there would be testing of the alarms along with testing of the tank on an annual basis.
Thank you, Nora.
Okay. Tish, I don't see any questions from the public. I don't see any hands raised from any of the attendees with respect to this hearing.
Neither do I.
Okay.
I'm happy to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
If you would, Joe.
For the select board to grant permission to the Seyon Group LLC 24M for a fuel storage license at 26 Dartmouth Street with the maximum quantities as outlined in the November 7, 2025 fuel storage license application. Any changes that would exceed the approved fuel storage capacity must be reported to and approved by the select board. The select board held and duly posted the December 8, 2025 public hearing, including a notice to abutters.
If I may, I'd just like to make the friendly amendment to that motion to include that revisions need to be made to, and Nora, help me out here, to the operations
Operations
plan.
and maintenance plan.
Thank you. Per our discussion tonight relative to the spill response plan and annual inspections and notification to Dedham Westwood Water District. Did I get that right, Nora?
Yes.
So I'd like to make that friendly amendment, move for that friendly amendment to the motion.
You know, I think I have to second your friendly amendment. Does that sound right, Mary Ann?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then I will second that friendly amendment to my
Okay.
motion.
That will
All right.
work, Joe.
We have a
Thanks, Pat.
amended motion and a second, so I'll take a roll call vote. Joe.
Aye.
Mary Ann.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Stephen, Nicole, thank you very much for helping protect the water district. Tyler and Kip.
Point of order, Rob. I
we
think
need
we
to-
now need to vote on the motion now that we've approved the friendly amendment.
Oh, that's right. You're right. You are correct. Thank you. So, do I have take a vote on the amended motion? So roll call vote, Joe.
Aye.
Mary Ann.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Before we close this public hearing, thank you to our folks from the Dedham Westwood Water District for helping protect and preserve our water supply. Tyler, Kip, Kate, thank you very much for your willingness to answer and entertain all questions. Nora, thank you as always for your expertise. Colin as well, thank you. And I will now entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I'm happy to do so after I thank Steve. It's always good to see you, Steve. I make a motion to close the public hearing December 8, 2025 for the Seyon Group LLC 24M for a fuel storage license at 26 Dartmouth Street.
I second that.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. This hearing is now closed.
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have a change of manager application for Roche Brothers. And Nora, I think you're going to take lead on this with some folks from Roche Brothers or RBSW Inc. So,
Yes, so the town received an application for a change of manager for Roche Brothers. The proposed new manager is Stephen Homan. Stephen had previously been the manager of record at the Wellesley Roche Brothers for the last 8 years. Before that, he was a store manager at Needham Sudbury Farms and at Sudbury Farms in Sudbury. He is a resident of Mansfield and has had a successful query review. The Alcohol Review Committee reviewed the application and recommends unanimously for approval.
Attorney Sperber, I see you're here. Do you have anything you want to add to the conversation before we take any action?
No, I don't. Steve's a longtime manager at Roche Brothers, and he's been a manager of record in Wellesley with a great record. He's moved to Westwood recently, which is great. We only send the top managers to Westwood, so I hope you all get the chance to meet him soon if you haven't already. And that's all I have to say at this point.
Thank you. Any questions from either of my colleagues?
No.
No.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to do so for the select board to approve Stephen Holman being named manager of record at RBSW Incorporated, doing business as Roche Brothers, pending Alcohol Beverage Control Commission ABCC approval, and for the electronic signatures select board to be affixed to the ABCC licensing authority form.
I second that.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you, Mr. Sperber, for being here. Thank you, Nora.
Great. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Welcome to Mr. Holman.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have our annual change of officers, board members request from the Norfolk Golf Club. I believe we have David O'Leary here from the club. And Nora, this is another one falls in your purview. We have a busy night with you tonight, Nora.
Yes. All right. So this one is an annual report that we receive from the Norfolk Golf Club every year. This year, the request for a change of board members adds David O'Leary as treasurer and Matt Gillis as the director. Two former board members, their terms have expired as of October 31st, 2025. David O'Leary is replacing Linda Healy as the treasurer. Ms. Healy is now a director on the board, and Matt Gillis has been elected to a new term as director. For all of the officers, their query checks have been successful. The Alcohol Review Committee reviewed this as well and recommends unanimous approval.
Thank you very much. Welcome, David. Anything to add?
No, we just enjoy our relationship with the community. I think we may be hosting our 15th, possibly greater than that, Council on Aging breakfast. And again, we also host the Westwood Day for outing for first responders. So it's our privilege to be a part of the community.
We appreciate you very much. Do I have any questions from either of my colleagues?
No.
No.
All right, would entertain a motion.
Be happy to do so. Select board grant approval for the change of officers / board members application for Norfolk Golf Club for the 2026 license year, pending approval, pending Alcohol Beverage Control Commission ABCC approval, and for the electronic signatures of the select board to be affixed to the Alcohol Beverage Control Commission licensing authority certification.
Second that.
All right, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Now, I don't think David and Nora are going anywhere because if I recall, we follow this up with your annual Mother's Day extension of alcohol hours.
We do. So I just have one point on this. I know this is on the agenda prior to the hearing for the renewal of all alcohol licenses, but it relates to the Norfolk Golf Club's new license, presuming the board renews that license in its next hearing. So I just want to make that clear, and I don't know if you want to actually discuss it now, but then actually take the vote after you've renewed all licenses, or how you want to handle that. Because what you're discussing...
My suggestion, Nora, I'm sorry for interrupting, is that they can approve it contingent upon approval of the alcohol license moving forward.
All right, sounds good. So this is a request that comes year after year for Mother's Day brunch. The brunch at Norfolk Golf Club is so successful that they need to have 2 settings, which they've been doing for a number of years. So they request every year that the board extend its hours of operation for the service of alcohol earlier in the day on Mother's Day to 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. And this year, Mother's Day falls on May 10th, 2026. So the request would be for an extension of the hours of operation earlier in the day to begin in advance of a brunch at 10 a.m.
I have no questions. Do either of my colleagues have a question on this?
I do not.
Joe?
None for me, Rob.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
Happy to do so. Select Board, I make a motion, Select Board, grant permission to Norfolk Golf Club for extension of the alcohol service to begin at 10 a.m. on May 10th, 2026 for the club's annual Mother's Day brunch.
Mr. Privatera, would you also make it contingent upon approval of the liquor license moving forward for the year?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
And I second that motion.
All right, do we, let's see. Roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. David, thank you very much for being here and appreciate it. We hope you guys have fantastic weather for Mother's Day and every day that somebody wants to be out there taking in that wonderful golf course.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we get into the public hearing portion of our license renewals that Nora just alluded to. And this is our annual hearing to consider renewal of the following types of licenses. We have common victualler, on-premise alcohol, off-premise alcohol, entertainment, class 1 auto, mobile food truck operator, unattended donation centers, containers, junk dealers, taxi and livery, and that is all for the calendar year 2026. So I think the way I want to handle this, and Joe, knowing that you're just back, I was going to take you off the hook, and I was going to go through the list category by category, and if there are any holds, we could allow for that. But before we do that, if we could open the public hearing.
I'd be happy to. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing to consider the following renewal of licenses: common victualler, on-premise alcohol, off-premise alcohol, entertainment, class 1 auto dealer, mobile food truck operator, unattended donation containers, junk dealers, taxi, and livery for the 2026 year. And Rob, I know this is the agenda item you're going to shine. Look forward to it every year.
All right.
Counting on you, man. Counting on you.
Category by category. Here we have common victualler licenses. We have BB Cafe and Bakery, Birdie's Hot Chicken. If there are any that you have a concern about, please just note it with a hold. Following Birdie's Chicken, we have Bubbling Brook, Chipotle on 217 University Avenue, Dunkin' Donuts, which is the Coffee Grinder Donuts Inc. on 400 Washington Street, Dunkin' Donuts High Street Donuts at 915 High Street, Dunkin' Donuts Medway Donuts at 115 Providence Highway, Dunkin' Donuts Westwood Donuts at 208 Providence Highway, Islington Pizza and Sub at 315 Washington Street, Juicy Greens at 305 Washington Street, Lifetime Bistro at 44 Harvard Street, Lifetime Cafe at 44 Harvard Street, Muffin House Cafe at 296 Washington Street, Neroli Mercado at 274 Washington Street, Panda Express at 125 University Avenue, Panera Bread at 201 University Avenue, Pliables 745 High Street, Poke Brothers at 127 University Avenue, Sebastian's at 247 Station Drive, Smash Burger at 203 University Ave, Starbucks Coffee at 101 University Ave, Starbucks Coffee at 736 High Street, Target at 221 University Ave, Tastefully Done Restaurant and Catering at 1 University Ave, Westwood Jade at 220 Providence Highway, Westwood Pizza at 929 High Street, and Wegmans at 169 University Avenue. Point of order here to Town Council. Should I go through each of the categories and then pause for approval, or go through all of the categories and revisit?
At your discretion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I think I'd like to take them in the categories. So I did not
If I
hear.
may, I'm sorry, point of order. I'm sorry, Rob.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I don't think we voted on the motion to open the public hearing.
Thank you for keeping me honest on that. I thought we had, but maybe not.
I
So-
distracted you.
So Joe, you had opened the public hearing. Well, we made a motion to, and Marianne, I believe I heard you second. Did I not?
I'm not sure that I'm not sure I had the opportunity there. I'm not sure.
All right, how about if I do it again, Marianne?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing to consider the following renewal licenses: common victualler, on-premise alcohol, off-premise alcohol, entertainment, class 1 dealer, auto dealer, mobile food truck operator, unattended donation, containers, junk dealers, taxi, and livery for the 2026 calendar year. Motion has been made.
Second.
Roll call vote. Joe.
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And I'm sorry to have to do this because we now are open. So I will do that one more time. So we're going to take this category by category. We're going to vote at the end of each of the categories. If there is any concerns from either of my colleagues, please note with a hold. If there is any concern from the community, please note in the Q&A or raise your hand. That way we can entertain those concerns before we take a vote on the categories. So under common victrola license, we have 1 BB Cafe and Bakery at 1 Church Street, Birdie's Hot Chicken at 135 University Avenue, Bubbling Brook at 1652 High Street, Chipotle is at 217 University Ave, Dunkin' Donuts Coffee Grinder Donuts Inc. at 400 Washington Street, Dunkin' Donuts High Street Donuts Inc. at 915 High Street, Dunkin' Donuts Midway Donuts 115 Providence Highway, Dunkin' Donuts Westwood Donuts Inc. at 208 Providence Highway, Islington Pizza and Sub Inc. at 315 Washington Street, Juicy Greens at 305 Washington Street, Lifetime Bistro at 44 Harvard Street, Lifetime Cafe at 44 Harvard Street, Muffin House Cafe at 296 Washington Street, Neroli Mercado at 274 Washington Street, Panda Express at 125 University Avenue, Panera Bread at 201 University Ave, Playa Bowls at 745 High Street, Poke Brothers at 127 University Ave, Sebastian's at 247 Station Drive, Smash Burger at 203 University Ave, Starbucks Coffee at 101 University Ave, Starbucks Coffee at 736 High Street, Target at 221 University Ave, Tastefully Done Restaurant and Catering at 1 University Ave, Westwood Jade at 220 Providence Highway, Westwood Pizza at 929 High Street, and Wegmans at 169 University Ave. I did not hear any holds from my colleagues. I will give an opportunity if you have any holds. Hearing none, seeing none. I do not see anything, Tish, in the Q&A, nor do I see any hands raised with respect to this particular group of licenses. So I would entertain a motion on the common victrola licenses.
I make a motion, we approve the common victualler licenses as read by the chair.
I second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Joe.
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
I'm sorry, Rob, can I amend that motion to pending public safety inspections?
You certainly can. I will. Marianne, do you second that amended motion?
I do.
Okay, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, next we have mobile food truck licenses. We have but one for that, so I will cite that one as Paul's Canteen at 356 School Street, Stoughton, Mass. Do I have a motion, or do I have any concerns with respect to Paul's Canteen?
None for me.
No.
All right.
I'm happy to make the motion to approve the 2026 mobile food truck license pending public safety inspections.
Second.
Paul's Canteen.
Thank you very much, Joe. And seconded, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next is for the Section 12 on-premise all alcohol common victrola license. And this is the following. It is Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza at 119 University Avenue, Barcino at 569 High Street, Courtyard Boston, Dedham Westwood, Unit 64 University Avenue, Del Frisco's Grill at 60 University Avenue, Neroli at 282 Washington Street, Norfolk Golf Club at 166 East Street, Not Your Average Joe's at 70 University Avenue, and Wild Blossom at 301 Washington Street. Do I hear any questions there?
None for me.
Hearing none.
I'm happy to make a motion. We approve the 2026 Section 12 on-premise all alcohol common victual license pending public safety inspections and Alcohol Beverage Control Commission approval.
Second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next up, we have the Section 12 on-premise wine and malt common victualler license. And this pertains to Blue Orchid at 927 High Street, Camellas at 745 High Street, and the Toast Office at 679 High Street.
I don't have any questions, Rob.
Nor do I.
And I'm looking, I don't see any questions from the public. So we can go ahead and take a vote on this one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2026 Section 12 on-premise wine and malt common victual license pending public safety inspections and ABCC approval.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next up, we go to Section 15, off-premise wine and malt licenses. This pertains to Neroli Mercado at 274 Washington Street, Pollard's Test Kitchen at 687 High Street, Roche Brothers Supermarket at 338 Washington Street, Lambert's Rainbow Fruit, 220 Providence Highway, and Wegmans at 169 University Avenue. Do I have any holds on those? No questions. I don't see any questions from the public with respect to that. I would entertain a motion, Joe.
I'm happy to make the motion that the Select Board approve the 2026 Section 15 off-premise wine and malt license pending public safety inspections and Alcohol Beverage Control Commission ABCC approval.
For the entities
listed below: Neroli, Mercado, Paula's Test Kitchen, Roche Brothers, Lambert's Rainbow Fruit, and Wegmans.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next up, we have the entertainment licenses, and this would be a motion. I'll help you out, Joe. I'll say this would be a motion for the Select Board to approve the following 2026 entertainment licenses. Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza at 119 University Avenue, Barcino at 569 High Street, Blue Orchid at 927 High Street, Camellas at 745 High Street, Courtyard Boston Dedham Westwood, 64 University Avenue, Del Frisco's, 60 University Avenue, Neroli at 282 High Street, Not Your Average Joe's at 70 University Ave, the Toast Office at 679 High Street, Wegmans at 169 University Ave, and Wild Blossom at 301 Washington Street.
So moved.
Well, I got to just check and see, are there any questions, concerns from my colleagues?
No.
And I don't see anything with respect to questions from the public in this part of the public hearing. So with that, Joe, I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2026 entertainment licenses as read by the chair.
Second.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. All right, we're getting home here. I'm going to put the taxi companies and the livery companies, I think, together because there's only a couple of in each. So, well, we'll just do them one at a time as categories. So this would be for the Select Board to approve the 2026 taxi company licenses pending public safety inspections. And that would be for Norfolk Town Taxi at 518 Hilltop Drive in Walpole, Mass. And it would be also for Maurice Cab at 26 Congress Place in Dedham, Mass. Any questions from either of you?
None for me.
Okay. And
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the 2026 taxi company licenses pending public safety inspections for Norfolk Town Taxi, Walpole, Mass, and Maurice Cab, Dedham, Mass.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next, we have our livery licenses. So this would be to approve the 2026 livery license pending public safety inspections for Boston Carriage at 91 Providence Highway. Can I get a motion on that?
I'd be happy to do so. I'd make a motion, Select Board approve the 2026 livery license pending public safety inspections for Boston Carriage, Providence Highway, Westwood, Mass.
Second that.
I'm assuming
right.
it's Westwood, Mass.
Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Point of procedure to Joe's question, Nora, I assume that if it does not have a town other than Westwood, that it is in Westwood.
That's correct, and Boston Carriage is in Westwood.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Nora.
Sure thing. Joe, I think these next ones, you can go ahead and just make the well, I think we need to, well, let's stay with our, no, let's stay with our consistent way we've been doing this. So the next one has to do with the 2026 junk dealer license. And this is also pending public safety reviews. And for this one, it is Dolabani Jewelers at 145 University Avenue.
No issues.
No issues.
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm happy to make a motion to approve the 2026 junk dealer license pending public safety inspections for Dolabani Jewelers, 145 University Ave.
Second.
Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Next up, we have the unattended donation container licenses. And we have one for Bay State Books at 60 Nahattan Street. We have another for Bay State Textiles at 7 Clabbertree Street. We have Windward Trading LLC at 60 Nahattan Street. And we have CMRK at St. Denis at 157 Washington Street. We have CMRK at St. Margaret Mary at 845 High Street. And we have Helpsy at 710 High Street. Do we have any questions regarding the unattended containers? Unattended.
None here.
I don't see any questions from the public. Joe?
I'm happy to make a motion to Select Board approve the 2026 unattended donation container licenses for the Bay State Book 60 Nahattan, Bay State Textiles 7 Clabbertree, Windward Trading LLC 60 Nahattan, CMRK at St. Denis 150 St. Denis Church 157 Washington Street, CMRK at St. Margaret Mary's Church 845 High Street, and Helpsy 710 High Street.
Second that.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And then finally, for our Class A auto dealer licenses, we have Audi of Westwood at 375 Providence Highway, Porsche Westwood 411 Providence Highway, Mercedes-Benz of Westwood at 425 Providence Highway, Ira Acura of Westwood on Providence Highway. I don't see a number addressed there. Ira Mazda at Providence Highway, and Aston Martin Boston at 340 Providence Highway.
Ira Acura is at 395 Providence Highway, and Ira Mazda is at 420 Providence Highway.
Thank you very much, Nora. Do any questions from either of my colleagues with respect to these licensees?
No.
No.
I'm
Okay.
happy to make a motion. Select Board approve the 2026 Class 1 auto dealer licenses pending public safety inspections for Audi Westwood, Providence Highway, Porsche Westwood, Providence Highway, Mercedes-Benz of Westwood, Providence Highway, Ira Acura, Providence Highway, Ira Mazda, Providence Highway, Aston Martin, Boston, 340 Providence Highway. I think I got them all. Yep.
I second that.
All right, Joe. Roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You just approved 71 licenses that are vital to all of our business, and you did it in under 20 minutes. Very impressive.
Thank you. And with a couple of misstarts too. All right. So I could get a motion now to close the public hearing.
I'd be happy to make the motion to close the public hearing on these licenses.
Second that.
All right. Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Which brings us to our next agenda item, and it's one that I'm very happy to be able to bring before you, which is the approval of our employment agreement with our new town administrator. Mr. Ahern, would you like to take us through anything with respect to this agreement?
Happy to do so, Mr. Chairman. And I see our new town administrator is in the participants tonight. But the agreement is before you. Mr. Reed and I worked reasonably hard on this. And if I've talked to you about it, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this point in time. But I think the agreement speaks for itself.
Joe, Marianne, any questions with respect to the agreement?
None. Well done.
No.
I have no questions. Just thrilled that Connor will be joining us soon.
I agree. And I think we can take a motion on this. I'm prepared. And then after we take the motion, Tish, if you would allow Connor to come in, I would just give him an opportunity to be officially welcomed. So first, let's begin with a proposed motion.
I'd be happy to make the motion. The select board approve and sign the 3-year employment agreement with the new town administrator, Connor Reed, effective February 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029.
I second that.
All right, roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And on cue, Connor, welcome and congratulations. We are thrilled to have you. And, I'm sure that this will allow you to move forward on your end as well.
Yes, thank you, Rob. I'm really excited about it. It was great working with Pat and the team. I've been meeting with Molly and starting to get read up on the work that's waiting. I'm really excited to be coming on board, and so I really appreciate the time again of town council and Deputy Fitzpatrick, as well as the board, for your consideration. Really excited, and we'll stick around to hear the FS1 update and the budget update as well. So thank you all so much.
Well, welcome aboard, and we'll see you in February. I'm sure we'll be talking plenty of times in between. All right. So that takes us to the aforementioned FS1 update.
You need a motion.
Oh, you're right. We do. We didn't. No, didn't we take a motion?
You did.
We did it.
We did.
Did you?
We voted it before Connor came in.
Okay, mea culpa.
That's all right. Belt and suspenders, not a bad thing.
Nope.
Okay. All right. So I believe we have we have the chair of the FS1 committee here to give us an update and provide us. I believe they've had their second meeting as of this morning. So welcome to Ford Spalding. And Ford, give us an update on how things are going thus far with the steering committee. I think he's in that space between being a attendee and a panelist.
Where is that space?
Can you hear me?
We can, Ford. We can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Well, let me see if I can.
There he is.
There you go. No, that's the wrong picture. That's when I was 20. Thank you all for having me here. And we've had our first meeting on December 1, and it was really an organizational meeting. But then each of the committee members introduced themselves. It was a very interesting meeting. You have a great great committee, and I thank you for selecting them and appointing them. At that meeting, we reviewed our draft charge and agreed to send it to you, and I assume you have it. And it's for your edits and vote of approval, hopefully tonight. We also recommend to you that you consider putting in that charge completion dates or that for this phase of it, which I think would be very helpful. Earlier this morning, our committee had a posted meeting of FS1 for a tour understanding of the functions and the space needs of the station. And our next scheduled meeting is for December 22nd. I just wanted to mention the names of the committees. I know you did it in the meeting, but I'd just like to mention them again. But before I do that, because I'm relatively new to the town, I thought I ought to give a brief introduction of who I am. My wife and I moved from Dover to Westwood in 2023. When I was in Dover for approximately 45 years of my time there, I participated in a variety of local government positions ranging from finance, warrant committee, which is what we called it, board of selectmen, 2 different school committees, plus chaired the following building projects: the Dover-Sherburne Regional School District building and campus, which is done about the same time as your high school, the Minuteman Vocational School up in Lexington building and campus, and Dover just completed its community center, which is in the center of town. And I also served for 24 years on the Board of Fire Engineers in Dover. So the other committee members are Jody Petroselli, who's our vice chair, Ken Ayers, Peter Bean, Sarah Cantley, John Cummings, Harry Davis, Paul DeLay, and Nancy James, and I'm really looking forward to working with them. Our plan is to have 2 working meetings a month. Really, it'd be at 10 a.m. In the library, and then 1 community meeting each month in the evening, where it'd be a chance for community members to engage with us about any concerns or thoughts or support or whatever that they have. I think that's an important thing, to engage with them. All dates are on the town website. All our posted meetings when we have a quorum, and we follow the open meeting law. A principal goal of the committee is to engage and encourage Westwood residents to work with us to come to a consensus for the future of FS1. In order to do that, we plan to educate and communicate with Westwood residents. We do not have a preconceived result. That will be developed through a process of building consensus with the town about the requirements for the department, building codes, National Fire Protection Association guidelines, and costs. We anticipate that we will analyze the 8 options which were presented on October 7th at the Public Safety Forum, and really anything else that crosses our path. Finally, I want to take you to our town, you and community members, to the Westwood Town website. Under Government, go to Fire Station FS1 Steering Committee, and there is where we are and will accumulate information related to our meetings and work. It is important for the Westwood community to become familiar with this site as a foundation for our mutual education. And it is clear that any recommendation will need to be approved at a succession of town meetings. And what I want to caution, though, however, is I use this term a lot. Time is not on our side as public construction costs continue to increase. Chairperson Gotti, we look forward to your board approving our committee charge, and we will be moving forward. Thank you. And you do, I believe, have a copy of that charge.
We do, and I know we've each had an opportunity to read it. I think it is very well laid out in terms of what you're looking to accomplish based on what we've asked you to do. The one thing when I read it, I was glad to hear you raise it, that concerned me was sort of absence of time boundedness. So I think we can provide you with some of that here tonight. you alluded to a series of town meetings that would need to be taken in order to town meeting votes that would need to be taken to continue to move this forward, and definitely hear you with respect to not letting time drag on for any number of reasons, cost certainly being one, and the health and safety of our firefighters and the community being the others. So I would really like to see, and I like the cadence that you're establishing. I'm gonna let Joe and Marianne. I have my thoughts on the time frame that I would like to see. I'm going to give Joe and Marianne each an opportunity to express any comments they might have with respect to the charge and the deliverables. So, do either of you have any questions for Ford with respect to those things?
If I may,
Please.
good evening, Ford. Number one, I want to thank you and Jody for your leadership of the FS1 Advisory Committee. I want to remind folks, as you've said, that your meetings are all open to the public. They're posted, so everybody can be a part of those meetings. And number three, I want to commend you for the great work on this committee charge statement. And there was one part of it that I just want to read because I thought it was wonderful, actually. It said that the committee shall embrace the role of learners, translators, and communicators, absorbing technical information, distilling it into understandable terms, and sharing it publicly. That is great. That is exactly what we are hoping that you will do in the process of coming to recommendations. So thank you very much for your time in doing this. As far as a timeline, Rob, obviously, when it comes to a short-term and a long-term solution, there are dollars associated with that, which, of course, have to be approved by town meeting. So it is the town meeting timeline that is at issue. And as we all know, that's going to be backed up in terms of the notice and the public process that is required for that. So we need to give the committee time to do its work. And then we've got to have the time necessary to get that before town meeting.
Yeah, I have some specific dates in mind, and Joe, I'd like to hear from you with respect to the charge, the responsibilities, the deliverables, and then your thoughts on timing if they differ at all from what you just heard from Marianne.
Thank you, Rob. I, as usual, agree very much with what Marianne had to say. Let me start first with Ford, nice presentation. I just want to re-emphasize for folks because this is something folks have been asking for repeatedly. But if folks go to the town's portal or the town's website, if you click on government and then you click on boards and committees, and then you can select FS1 working group or study group. And in that, you will find a list of resources. And I'm going to guess, Molly, you probably put this together, and it's a great list. Well done. Very well done. And that's very, I think, everyone should take a look at that. It's very, very helpful. As far as the timeline, the only thing I can say, Rob, is, and I was at our, no, it wasn't our the meeting before the 17th meeting, I was pretty clear that I feel as though the health risks that firefighters are being subjected to now has to be addressed as quickly as possible. And I think, Marianne, your point's well taken about I had no idea about the timeline till we sat down with Dottie and she walked us through some of the steps that we have to go through. So I think it'd be helpful if we had some sort of guidance from Dottie on what the timeline is for a town meeting, a special town meeting or something like that. And that would also help guide that committee along those lines. I mean, you just can't do it overnight. There's a lot in the process, more than I appreciated until we went through that.
Well,
I'd like to see it done as sooner than later, Rob.
So to try and bridge what I heard from you and what I heard from Marianne, to give Ford and the committee a really clear and actionable time frame. I think that we would like to have a recommendation on both a short-term solution as well as a site chosen for a long-term solution. And I'm going to put an aggressive date as by March 1st so that you can present that to us, because that would allow us to put a warrant article in time for the final meeting, final hearing of the FinCom at the end of March. I believe that's the 24th or 25th. Do I have that right, Molly? I see you nodding your head. So I know that doesn't seem that far away, but I know you also have a great deal to try and absorb in that every other week cadence that you're establishing. So my goal, in terms of setting a date, I think March 1st is an aggressive date, Joe, to try and meet what you're talking about, because we're going to need an appropriation of free cash to address a short-term solution. And we will similarly need an appropriation of free cash to go to design bid on a long-term solution. And I'd like to be able to get both of those things done at the upcoming town meeting on May 4th. So that's why I'm sort of honing in on that March 1st date. How do the two of you feel about that before we go to Ford?
I think that makes sense, Rob.
Joe?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about this for a minute, Rob.
Sure.
I guess I'll say yes, but I think it's so important that we let the staff of the fire department understand that we're going as fast as we possibly can. Despite the fact that I want to do something sooner than later, I'm not going to win that battle, but in any case.
No, I think let's have that conversation a little bit to lay that out for people, because I think, your concern is valid, right? And as are theirs. If we were going to have a special town meeting, town council, what's the advance notice that we would have to give on something like that?
I believe it's at least 60 days. It could be 90.
So if it were 60 from today, right, we'd be talking about February 8th.
Dottie's on. Dottie knows this timeline better than I.
Okay.
So I would defer to her if you could bring her into the
Tish, if you could bring her in. But Joe, just to illustrate the point, if it were 60 days, that were 60 days from today, that would mean the earliest we could have a town meeting, a special town meeting, would be February 8th. But the group has just begun to meet. They haven't had an opportunity to fully vet anything. And we would have to basically make that commitment today. And I think we would need to specify what it is we were calling town meeting for. So we would need to identify the site.
You also have to go through the FinCom process. So the FinCom, as of February 1st, will begin the process for the annual town meeting. So it can become difficult when you cross a special town meeting with the annual town meeting in terms of keeping those public hearings straight and having the FinCom have the opportunity to review what they need to review and make recommendations.
Has Dottie come in yet, Tish?
Yes.
Dottie,
Yeah.
can you hear us, Dottie? We can't hear or see you, so I apologize if you're in the ether coming in. Here she comes. Hey, Dottie. What's the time frame notification requirement? Remind us on a special town meeting. How far in advance do we need to call for that and post it? Can you hear us?
Looks like
She cannot hear us. She's trying to talk.
I can try to speak for Dottie. I had asked her this question a couple of weeks ago, so my dates are a little bit off. But essentially, if the board voted to open the town meeting, these are just the dates that I use this, on October 23rd. The earliest you could have the special town meeting was December 5th. So you're looking at about 6 weeks as a turnaround. And in that turnaround, you have to open the town meeting. The FinCom has to send a mailer. FinCom has to have a public hearing. We have to close the warrant. Then they have to send out the book on that particular item. And then that has to be in household 7 days prior to the start of special town meeting. So
And so not only would we need to know where we were going to locate these things, but we would need to know how much we would be
Yes.
asking for
And where we-
a temporary quarters as well as for design bids. So, you know, I think that trying to get that to this town meeting cycle is probably as fast as we can possibly go, Joe, understanding full well the concerns you're raising.
Yeah, I get it, Rob. I get it. My frustration is coming from the original working group, and we put quite a bit of effort into temporary quarters, knowing the importance of it. That's my concern.
Understood. Understood. And shared.
And
Marion,
if I may, yeah, Joe, I just want to affirm what you're saying. And, you know, we wanted this done not sooner rather than later, but yesterday. And if, you know, we as a board, had we been successful going forward, we'd have shovels in the ground now. But we don't. And I think it is important that our fire department knows that we want to move forward on this as soon as possible. But we also know that we need a community-based solution that residents are going to, that we can hopefully gain consensus around with the community, which is why we now have this advisory committee to gain the support, hopefully widely in the community, of both the short-term and the long-term solution. So I share your frustration, and I appreciate all of the work that you did on the original working group, but I can't see how we can get this done sooner than the timeline we are laying out.
Dottie, before I turn to Ford, are you connected via Wi-Fi to where you can both hear us and respond? You are on mute. All right, I think we're gonna, Dottie, if there's anything that you have as a concern, maybe relay that to Tish and or Molly, and we can sort of field that in there. Ford, any concern with what you have heard from the three of us with respect to our shared sense of urgency, but our also respect for the process that you all are going to have, you know, over the next several months, to what you need to absorb to be able to make recommendations to us?
Yeah, I think the March 1 is going to be a challenge. I think January and February, we're talking about 2 meetings a month that we're going to have. That doesn't mean that stuff doesn't go on in between, but we're talking about 2 meetings a month. We're also talking about adding at least one meeting for over the next January, February, March, for the community to come in. So it's really 3 meetings for us a month. You have to get consensus as you're going along, and you have to get to yes, and that does take some time. So I think putting a goal of March 1 to try to figure out where we are, that's going to be a challenge enough. And I think that's what it's going to be. We're going to go into January 1, and that's really where we're going to get in, looking at the options that we're supposed to look at, which is, what, 8 options? And some of those are going to be very quick. Some of them might not be very quick. But I think March 1 is going to be something I think we should shoot for. And if we can't make it, we can't. But I think we can certainly try. We have a committee, I think, that's very engaged. It's a great committee as I'm getting to know them. So you can only push so hard, and if you try to do it real quickly, you can be in trouble. We have to get to yes, and I think we'll be able to. The community is new to me, but that's not something that I'm nervous about. So I think let's set a date for March 1 to try to see if we can come up with a recommendation that will be used for a town meeting.
I'll
It
tell
may
you
be,
what,
maybe go into,
we'll give
may
you a
go into
little bit of
February,
relief.
April, mean.
We'll give you a little bit of relief in that our meeting in March is March 9th.
Oh, that's
So-
plenty of time.
And we'll give you an extra 8 days there, you know?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to come down to a few options. That's really going to be what it is, and we're going to have to look at those few options. But being in the department again today, it's my second time in the department. We do need to move quickly. There's no question about it. But we have to get the community engaged into yes, and that means we have to reach out to the community, not just at our meetings, but in between, and that's what I know we're going to try to do.
All right.
So I think you set a date, we'll know in by that date whether we're ready or not. But it would be really nice to be able to get to the town meeting, and that will be in May
4th.
May 4th. So that's what you really want to get to, and I know there's a long process to get there, but
Yeah, the important date with respect to May is the final FinCom hearing is March 24th. So that's the important date that we have to have something before them. And so I would say that your goal is March 9th for our select board meeting, so that we have some time to get a warrant article drafted and to FinCom with all of the supporting data from your recommendation. And I would suspect we would have you join us at the FinCom meeting on the 24th of March.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is to come to that date with a plan that we feel collectively is going to pass town meeting. And I think that's the key. We have to get it so it's going to pass town meeting. We can't afford not to have that happen.
Agreed. All right. Well, thank you, sir, for being here, giving us this update.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Ford, I understand what you're saying, but the committee has to understand the health risks that are associated. And along those lines, Rob, one of the worst things any organization to do is have things floating out in the air, dangling out there. I think it would be helpful if Molly, if you could send a synopsis of this discussion tonight to the fire chief, explaining the timeline issues, explaining some of the other issues, explaining about, I understand we've got another engineer coming in to look at this. I guess there's going to be a mold study or something, but explaining all of these variables, put it in black and white so the chief can just sit down, discuss that with them, and post it if he'd like to. So they don't watch these meetings. But I think having something in black and white about how hard we are working on this would be very helpful.
And Joe, I've been in contact with them, and I think you're right, but we need to be in contact, and that's part of what our job will be, is being in contact.
Yeah. All right, Joe, thank you. We will take that. Molly, just one thing related to the FS1 steering committee. I heard a couple of different folks refer to, go to government, go to, committees that I'm sure we can put a tile on the front page to get you there faster, right? If it's not there already.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you very much.
And let me just say, I'm getting to know your staff, Molly in particular, but you've got a great staff, and they're very helpful, and as is the chief and the it's not the deputy chief. What do you call
assistant chief?
It's Colin. Assistant chief. They are
Yeah.
great, and we're just going to work as hard as we can to get it done. But we have to get it done.
We have total faith in you, Ford, and we're going to go to our next dedicated employee, our budget director, Stephanie McManus, who's going to give us a budget update, because we still have a whole bunch of stuff queued up behind this next lengthy item.
Have a great evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ford.
I'll take that cue, Rob, and try to make this quick if I can.
Certainly.
So tonight,
I'll walk through the recommended FY27 capital budget and provide a brief update on the town's debt and long-term capacity. And I am going to share my screen if that's okay.
Certainly.
All right. So as always, the goal is ensuring we maintain our infrastructure, keep our financial position strong, and make responsible long-term decisions. The Select Board has consistently supported reinvestment in town and school assets. Annual capital articles are built directly from the 5-year capital improvement plan, which you received in November and is posted on the town website. The town uses a 5-year rolling capital plan that we revisit every year. All items in the warrant trace back to that larger plan. Our FY27 budget continues a high, stable level of capital investment. Requests this year totaled more than available funding, so we work closely with the departments to prioritize health and safety and items that prevent more costly repairs down the road. So our base capital funded with free cash covers the core reoccurring needs. Municipal is at 1.7 million this year and school is at 1.28. These amounts were increased in FY26 after being level for years, and we are maintaining those higher levels in FY27. So total increase over FY26 is $325,000, helping us keep pace with rising costs and aging infrastructure. Beyond base capital, we're recommending additional capital investment from several funding sources. As you can see here, the amounts and the types: 1.18 from meals and hotel tax, a little over 2 million from free cash, 760,000 from sewer retained earnings, and about 500,000 from ambulance receipts. This allows us to address higher priority projects without over-relying on the capital budget, on the operating budget. So there are a number of main funding sources for the base and additional capital. So I just wanted to highlight sort of where those funding sources are and the balances at today's moment. Free cash, I went through that in detail a couple months ago. July 1st was certified at 15.7 million. We're using a little over 5 million of free cash for the FY27 capital. Meals and hotel tax, the current fund balance is 2.3 million, and we're proposing using just over 1 million this year. Ambulance receipts and sewer retained earnings are healthy and used for needs directly related to their purpose, and I'll go through that in a later slide. This diversified funding remains a strength of Westwood's capital approach. And I did just want to highlight, we don't talk about these often, but we also have some reserve funds. We're not using any of these for the capital this year, but it is something that comes up. So I just wanted to highlight those reserve balances to date too. This slide just also reinforces we continue to balance our capital needs with healthy reserves and adherence to policy targets. You can see the current balances in the 2 stabilization funds. For our main stabilization, it currently is 4.6 million, and the capital improvement stabilization is currently 1.7 million. So this is the FY27 recommended base municipal article. Recommended article items focus on core services, public safety equipment, DPW infrastructure, technology upgrades. These are items that, if deferred too long, create operational or service risks. Some of these probably look familiar. They're reoccurring each year. Investment in facilities and equipment helps avoid higher replacement costs later. I'm happy to highlight any of these if you have any questions. I know all the descriptions are included in the capital book, so I'll just pause for a minute and see if there's anyone in particular you sort of want me to highlight on. And these are all obviously funded with free cash, totaling 1.7 million.
No, I think one of the things that I'd like to highlight or have you talk a little bit about is this by no means is the exhaustive list of what was requested. These were the things that through your process came up as highest priority from the departments themselves, correct?
Yes, perfect segue. That is my next slide, but I'll just give 1 more minute to see if anyone has questions on this.
I do have a question, Stephanie.
Great.
On the breakdown, you've broken it down by department. It looks like DPW, fire, IT, library, police. But on the police vehicles, it's a lump sum. But on the other departments, we know exactly what we're voting for. Can you help me understand that?
Sure. So in the capital book, the police chief who submitted this request does break out. There's 4 vehicles that are scheduled for replacement with these funds. They all have around 100,000 miles on them and are about 5 years old. So there's
No,
a whole
that's perfect.
replacement
No,
schedule
perfect.
included in the book and
Yeah, I
broken
didn't
out
see- I
as
didn't
to
see
what
that.
that's going to fund.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that schedule. I just
Oh.
saw the same thing lump sum, so that's perfect.
No, I completely understand. So that's why we ask questions. But it is broken out in that, and I can send you directly, Joe,
No, you got
information
enough
on
on your
that.
plate. No, you're fine. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. So as Rob queued up perfectly, not all requests fit in the FY27 capacity. Some are recommended for later years to help level out that capital curve. That equaled this year about 2 million in municipal requests that were deferred. So funding the full list would have required, this is insane to say, but $250,000 increase in the base capital, which obviously is not sustainable. So items that would deferred include annual energy efficiency allocation. You can see notes on the side there. We evaluate current balances and projects and decide we can defer that one more year. ADA compliance allocation. Danielle said it was great. She applied for a grant to cover the cost of that, so we're able to defer that 1 year as well. And then several non-urgent vehicle replacements. And then some items were just reduced, again, due to need, that we could not maintain the increases that were requested. So we've taken the same approach with all departments to keep the plan affordable, and these needs remain important and stay in the 5-year capital plan. I say that's important. We're just shifting the timeline, not getting rid of any of these.
Stephanie, may I ask a question on that,
Sure.
please? And thank you. I want to understand if you could help me with this. What impact, if any, does deferring the accessible van for the COA have on our delivery of service?
Sure, we reviewed this with the director of the COA, and we shifted their timeline. I think they had a van requested for the next 3 years, but just looking at the current fleet of what they have 3 vans, accessible vans, and then a smaller van. The years and this is what we do all the time. We look at the year and sort of the mileage at the time, and we evaluated and agreed that it's something that could be shifted back without any major impact at this point.
Okay.
Stephanie, along similar lines, I'm sorry, Marianne, did you have another question?
If I could just drill down on that a little, Stephanie, what is I know you said there's no major impact, but what is the impact? Do we know? Can we quantify that?
So the 3 vans they currently have, they have a new one coming in right now. And so their oldest van, and I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, I think will be 2021. So all of their vans are pretty new and don't have mileage that would, nothing's over 75,000 miles. We've come up with them a replacement schedule for the next 5 years, say. So.
Okay, so this isn't going to, I mean, as long
But if
as.
it's something, and I can send some information, if it's something that you think maybe it should be added or is an important item that would affect their operations, we can absolutely look at that again.
If I can, I just want to confirm that we don't need a new van in order to meet the level of service. What we're talking about is replacing, somewhat aging vehicles, although, 2021 is not, very old. So that's what we're talking about. It's not going to interrupt or impact
Oh,
service.
yes. So this would not be adding a 4th accessible van. This would just be replacing one of the ones they have.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
You good, Marianne?
Yes, I'm good. Thank
Just
you.
real quick, Steph, go back one slide. I'm sorry. Just with respect to the engine replacement, I know these things have very long lead times.
Yes.
So, was there any concern from the chief on pushing that one back? I mean, obviously it's a 1-year pushback, but I just remember having had discussions with him previously that these are the manufacturers are seriously backlogged.
No, it's a great point. We had, I think over the last 2 years, we requested both a ladder and an engine, and both still have not come in. They're due soon, but yes, it's, I don't know, a 3-year wait time right now. So it is something that we discussed with the chief, and this is also another department that spent a lot of time this year. Thank you, Molly, with Molly and Chief Lung going through sort of their fleet replacement schedule and reevaluating things. And it is something we felt. I mean, I'm sure he would love this engine replaced today, which I completely understand, but it's something that we're gonna push to 28. And it is something to highlight that most likely will be funded with ambulance receipts.
I would also add on to that we often do what we call a letter of intent. And so it's a letter from us to the manufacturer saying, we're not quite there yet, but we're expecting in, town meeting 2027 to be authorizing purchase of this. Can you get us in the queue? So I believe that that's what we'll be doing in this case.
Yes, and we did something similar with the last one. Thank you for highlighting that, Molly.
Thank you both. Okay. I'm
And
good.
Rob, I just wanted to add to that, as you pointed out, and Stephanie knows, nothing is etched in stone. But my understanding is the squad truck, although it's been kicked out another 6 months, I believe within the next 6 months, the new squad will be should be delivered.
They should both be, fingers crossed, in January, ladder one and the new squad.
Right. So we do have some new equipment coming in, Rob.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that.
Right, thank you. School-based capital. So this is the annual school-based capital article funded with free cash. I put it up here just to highlight the total amount. Final project distribution is still being confirmed with the school administration. That plan will be presented this week. I believe it's Wednesday to the school committee. But here's just a list of categories that I know will be coming, and they'll be finalizing their amount. And I'll hopefully have an update for you after that. So the next two slides detail specific projects funded outside the base capital program. These projects address higher priority or larger scale needs that can't fit into the base capital. It's something we do every year. This first article totals 2.135 million and is funded with free cash. There's 5 items on here, obviously. I'm happy again to tough on. I think the Carby Street roof one, the replacement is pretty obvious. It's a 20-year roof that needs to be replaced. Is there anything on here, any items that you want me to go into detail on? I'm happy to do so.
Not to put you on the spot for the infrastructure, the radio infrastructure. I know we've had a variety of conversations about different grant opportunities and regionalization and a whole bunch of things like that that have not materialized with respect to this. Can you give us a sort of high level of what is involved and what the safety gains are with respect to this?
No, of course, yes. And there was a grant talked about within the last year that unfortunately did not go through. So we sort of came to the conclusion that it is a project that needs to be done. So between police and fire, they both requested 500,000 for a total of $1 million. They will replace the town's aging public safety infrastructure, which supports police, fire, and EMS operations. So current system has absolutely surpassed its useful life. The core components are no longer manufactured, and replacement parts are available only through limited dealer stockpiles. So it was designed, I believe, 50 years ago and does not provide reliable coverage in certain areas. One of the ones I know the chiefs always talk about include University Station and the Islington area. So this funding would allow for full replacement of the system, including all equipment, and which would then provide reliable communication for all public safety operations, which is really important.
Okay.
Steph, this is to backfill that project that Sean worked so hard on, correct?
Sean.
Remember he was working on a grant and
I think you're right, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry. Nobody talking about. Yes, but the police department, the communications in particular, was working really hard on a grant that they did not end up getting.
Yep. No, it's terrific work. It's unfortunate, but I understand why it's on the table.
And there was many years that we were requesting, 75K, 100K here and there for this project. And that money has still been built up and that'll be part of this. But at this point, it's just has been decided that a one-time allocation to get this project going is what's best.
I agree.
Yeah, and Joe, I mean, this is another example of our commitment to the health and well-being of both the police and fire, both all of our public safety professionals, right? I mean, and this is, critical communication infrastructure for when they're deployed and in active situations. So, not to in any way diminish our earlier conversation, this just is another demonstrated proof point of commitment to them.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, Rob, they got the rug pulled out from under them. It's heartbreaking. They did some fine work. It's heartbreaking.
Yep.
Okay, anything else on here? All right, so the next article totals 1.18 million. It will be funded with meals and hotel tax. This includes a list of articles. I will maybe just highlight super quick the main library's automated material handler, because including myself, I didn't know what that was until the director had to explain it to me. So the current one was installed 12 years ago as part of the main library new construction. So this is that piece of equipment that when you go and drop your books off, that's where they go. So the replacement needs to match the design of the room it's housed in, which is L-shaped. So therefore, the new unit needs to be custom designed to fit the footprint of the room and properly connect the book drop outside. So this is integral to the whole workflow of the library. The meeting room technology is at the Gillette meeting room. It's to make it a hybrid. Fire alarm upgrades are for the fire department. This is the upgrade of the radio box notification system that provides communication between numerous buildings and emergency services during fire alarm activations. And then the two from the schools, again, they're presenting their capital first time this week, so I'll sort of let them present that to their board and then follow up at a later date with more information. Is there anything else on here that you want me to highlight?
No.
I mean, the
Mr.
only other,
Chair?
the only, I would like to understand a little bit about the automated handler. You mentioned it was custom based on the shape of the room. What's the sort of upcharge for customization for that? And what does a standard one look like? And what does a standard room for receiving return materials look like? I haven't an idea, but it certainly seems like a question worth asking.
I can come back with more information. I don't know the difference between what a standard one would be, but I am highlighting the fact that there's a little bit of a premium being paid because of the setup of the room. And it's unfortunately not much you can change. The first one was installed when the building was constructed. And so they're sort of just held to having to work with that space design. And the current one does need to be replaced because it has been discontinued. So they can't get repairs or anything on the current one.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll get you that information, Rob. I'll sort of the difference in the upcharge on what that would be.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
So the other one that I had as a question, sorry, on that list was security licensing. Is that truly a capital item versus an operational item? And what's the frequency of renewal of the licensing?
No, this is a good question. We're actually going back and forth with the department on this right now. I put it in, and again, I know this is a draft, so this is why I like discussing these with you. This is the licensing for the town's access control and security system. So in every municipal building we have, and it is expiring. I believe it's been at least 5 years and needs to be renewed. This would be renewing it for another 5 years.
Okay.
And it's all municipal buildings, not just the DPW.
Oh, no, that's correct, Joe. Yes, it's every building we have that has that sort of
Todd took
access
it up
control system
in his silo. I get it. Okay. That's an important point for folks to understand.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
So then there are specialized items funded with their respective dedicated sources, such as ambulance receipts and sewer retained earnings, which we have normally each year. So the first one's for sewer capital. It is 4 items. These are pretty standard. First one is for stormwater compliance. That's part of the EPA's general permit aimed to provide improve water quality. So the town will be federally mandated to investigate and repair damaged infrastructure, and this just will allow the DPW to initiate projects yearly to repair that damaged infrastructure. There's then the I&I program, which we talk about each year. This This portion of it is for investigations into the sewer system to then recommend improvements, which will come at a future town meeting. The pump station facility program. So this would be specifically, they're requesting $500,000 to perform necessary work for the upcoming year as part of their required replacement timeframe for pump motors, check valves, gate valves, electronic controls, HVAC equipment, all of that related to their pumping facilities. There's then a vehicle replacement for the sewer administration. This is the sewer pump station's manager's vehicle, which is currently a Ford Explorer and has over 130,000 miles on it. So the transmission engine need major work, and that position is on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The second one is for ambulance and includes 2 items which are funded through ambulance receipts. Obviously the first one's pretty standard. It's replacement of the ambulance upgrade and replacement. It's part of their annual funding to replace specialized rescue equipment and provide training. So specifically this year, the funding will be switching many of the gas-powered saws and vent fan over to efficient battery-powered equipment. And then the second one is pretty self-explanatory. The ambulances are on a rotating schedule for replacement as part of the department plan. They currently operate 2 primary ambulances and then support a 3rd reserve unit that serves as a backup during periods of high call volume or one of the frontline ambulances is out of service. So this is just maintaining that replacement cycle, and again, is funded with ambulance receipts. Happy to take any questions on those.
No questions.
Okay. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. This is sort of the time where if we have an article that is going to be borrowing on at town meeting, I would talk about debt. We don't this year. We don't have any planned at this time articles for town meeting for borrowing. But I did just want to give a brief overview of debt and go over a high level of sort of where we currently stand and what the budget will look like for FY27 on the operating side. So a quick overview for this slide of how town debt works. Town meeting authorizes borrowing. The state law governs usage and maximum terms. Bonds are issued after a public sale, followed by a rating review. And then debt service becomes part of the operating budget each year. So for debt capacity, it is governed by a few different things. There are several guardrails that manage our debt capacity. First one is the legal debt limit, which is 5% of the town's EQV or equalized valuation. For Westwood, that's $364 million. We then have our internal town policies where non-exempt debt should not exceed 8% of general fund revenues. Total debt, both exempt and non-exempt, should not exceed 12% of that general fund revenue. And then balancing debt with affordability is key, especially since it impacts the operating budget and taxpayers in town. This is a slide specifically on non-exempt debt, which is what we call debt within Prop 2.5. It's funded within the tax levy and impacts the operating budget. So we keep to a practice of rolling on new debt when old debt rolls off. We talk about that often, which keeps the debt budget level and predictable year over year. So for example, there was a drop off in FY23 when the 10-year DPW road and equipment bond ended. That then created room for a new $4.65 million road bond, which was approved. So
just to be clear, this one, which is the non-exempt debt, was the one that was capped at 8% on your previous slides per our town's financial policies.
Correct,
So,
which is about $8 million right now.
Right. So we're at about 3.5%. So we could, by our policies, raise that to that roughly $8 million. But to be clear, that would eat directly into the services that we deliver through the people that are part of that operating budget.
That's absolutely correct. So this is part of the overall about $7 million debt budget that is included for FY27. And, you know, the overall operating budget, the $120 million, this is a piece of that, but it's all funded majority with taxation. So if we were to raise this specific budget, you know, there's no dedicated taxation source like there is for exempt debt. So it would need to be pulled from somewhere else in that capacity budget.
Yep.
And for specifically for FY27, that budget, like you said, 3.5 million includes the new payment for the long-term debt that was just borrowed and approved by the board last month, and will be partially funded with cemetery lot sales since the borrowing was from the cemetery expansion. So you will see it's a little bit higher than previous years. That's because it includes the new payment for some for all the debt that's been approved at the last about 3 town meetings. On the exempt debt side, that's the annual payments for projects approved outside of Prop 2.5, meaning it was part of a debt exclusion, which allows for temporary tax increase for that project. This currently includes bonds for the high school, the library, and the Pine Hill Elementary School. So again, just as an example, the high school bond rolled off in FY23, helping absorb part of the new elementary school project debt financing. Another example, the library refinancing in 2021 saved taxpayers money over the life of the bond, and that bond ends in 2031. And then the exempt debt budget for FY27, the total payments will be 4 million, level with FY26. So nothing new is being added for this year. This is overwhelming and you don't really need to look at all these numbers, please don't. But it's just to show a quick snapshot of the chart of the long-term view. So this is included in each year in the town meeting warrant book. This chart shows the total principal and interest payments as part of the debt operating budget that what we were just talking about, Rob. So this is our total outstanding debt, which showing it's stable. It highlights the total numbers that I just went over. I will highlight 2 quick things. The black boxes show where the debt drops off, and the highlighted pieces are those 2 numbers I was just going over for the different budgets, totaling about $7 million for the overall debt budget. Just wanted to highlight that every project each year is shown with how much we pay on it and sort of the long-term plan for when that debt will be dropping off.
Right. And even though you've highlighted there's like $350,000 that's dropped off this year, the pushes and the shoves as you come down fiscal 26 to compare it to fiscal 27, that net is about what 290 different thereabouts in terms of it's up that much, which you highlighted in one of the earlier slides.
Yeah, so a big piece of this, that looks like a great drop and capacity definitely freed up. But then as you can see, we added that debt we just did last month for almost $1 million in payment. Number of projects included in that, but that basically ate up all that capacity and anything else naturally declining.
Yep.
And included having to have a little bit of an increase in that non-exempt debt. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this next chart is the long-term outstanding debt. It summarizes projects listed in that chart I just showed, and then shows just a comprehensive overview of all of our debt liabilities. It also just shows the maturity date, which I think people like to see a lot. Sort of, when is that debt ending? When are we dropping off? That's just a list of all the important dates for those projects. There's also on the sewer side, this is general fund debt, and then down here is the chart on sewer debt. And lastly is the authorized not yet issued. So these are items that have been approved at a town meeting that we have not issued long-term. Currently, these are very manageable and expected. Good news is that the only project left really is the Conant Road culvert, which we actually expect to receive a 75% reimbursable grant for. So we've cleaned up with this last borrowing. We've really cleaned up all that authorized not yet issued debt. So that's a good thing. So everything's been built into our budget, and we don't have anything on the horizon that's coming that we've approved that we really have to plan for at this moment. And then just some examples of recent bond sales, both long-term or short-term over the last couple of years. And I will say a reminder that we originally borrowed 60 million in August of 22 for the Pine Hill School, but because of other funding sources, we did not need to issue a second long-term borrowing for construction. So this is substantially reduced the long-term tax impact compared to early projections. So that's a good thing to highlight.
Very good thing to highlight.
Yeah. So that's it. The FY27 capital program maintains strong investment in the town's asset while staying within our financial policies. And our debt profile remains very manageable with excellent capacity and no major spikes that we can see ahead. And I'm happy to take questions on any of that.
No, I think you did a great job, Stephanie. I think we asked, as we always do, as we went along. Mary Ann, Joe, any additional questions for Stephanie before she drops?
I have some questions, Rob.
Sure, go ahead, Joe.
Steph, what I did was I went and grabbed last year's book. I put it down and grabbed this year's book, and thanks Tish for getting that to me. And just put them side by side and looked at some of the things. And what I'm asking is, as you cobble together this year's or 27 operating budget, I'm going to request, unless you tell me some reason we don't have to, that you consider adding 2 additional firefighters, because that was a request last year, and I thought that would be carried over to this year, but I didn't see it. Am I missing something?
So, and that's, you know, the board, that will be based on the board's recommendation. If they decide they want to vote to add 2 firefighters, that would be part of the operating budget. So this is just highlighting right now the capital. We're still working through the operating side of it, getting requests in from the department, looking through that. So I'll be back in January to update you on where we are with our operating budget piece, which will include the municipal budget, which includes any new positions, which would include firefighters.
And I guess what I want to say, Rob, is I believe that need is still on the table, that the people in Islington have waited long enough to have an ambulance in that station down there. They ought not have to wait for an ambulance to come. The people on Canton Street or in the Downey School District shouldn't be waiting for an ambulance to come from High Street, or in many cases, because they're so busy coming from out of town. I think the time, and what I'm going to respectfully suggest, Rob, if we can discuss this at one of our meetings, that we look into hiring 2 additional firefighters. I'd also like to suggest that we may be able to do this without using tax dollars, since we increased the ambulance fees. We may be able to use money from that account. So the point I'm trying to make is, Stephanie, I want you to put this, I want you to put it on your radar. I don't know how Marion and Rob feel, but I feel very strongly it's time to have an ambulance in the Islington Fire Station staffed with 2 additional firefighters, and the funds that go into that ambulance account be used strictly for ambulance rescue related matters only.
So a couple of things with that, Joe, right? Ambulance receipts have always funded the replacement of critical infrastructure like ambulances themselves. We have not taken those because they can fluctuate and use them for operating. I mean, tonight, what we're really talking about is capital, to Stephanie's point. We will be talking about operating going forward. So we can talk about that when the time is right, when we're talking about the operating budget itself and what the sources and uses of our overall inflow budget is.
No, I get it, Rob. I just wanted to put it on Stephanie's radar as she and Molly are cobbling this thing together, that this is something I'd like to pursue, period.
Sure, and we'll work closely with the board, obviously, when we decide on any positions that will be added. On the ambulance receipt side, I will just highlight, and I know you know this, Joe, but the current balance is about $2 million in that account. So I just highlighted sort of what we're using on the capital side, about 550,000. And then what will be used in different articles in Appendix D, I would probably project the total amount being used at this year's town meeting to be about $1 million. And then, as I highlighted, we have an engine coming up in FY28, which will most likely be funded with ambulance receipts. So just to highlight sort of just some of those projects that are coming up as well, to keep that in mind with the capacity of that account.
Well, we'll talk about operating needs at operating budget presentation.
Right.
Thank you,
Anything else
Stephanie.
for me at all? Great. Thank you all.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Nice job.
All right, next up, Molly has some a series of contracts on collective bargaining to talk about. So Molly, take it away.
So before you tonight, we have the 2nd and 3rd of the MOAs out of the 5 that are expiring on June 30th, 2026. So I'll go first with the Police Superiors Union. No major things are happening this cycle. As always, we're just trying to clarify language whenever something comes up, whenever possible. I did send a revised version this afternoon to the board that had one minor change in it. The economic components have been reviewed by Stephanie, and we can confidently say that they fall within our sustainable budget model. So tonight, I'm asking that the board ratify the MOA between the town of Westwood and the Police Superiors Association.
Did either of my colleagues have any questions with respect to the MOA that Molly had sent to us?
I do not.
I don't, other than thank you, Molly, for addressing my concerns on the vehicles.
Okay.
I'd be happy to make a motion, Rob.
If you would, Joe, that'd be great.
Select Board, I move the Select Board vote to sign the memorandum of agreement between the town of Westwood and the Westwood Police Superior Officers Association for fiscal year 27 to 29.
I second that.
And I'll take a roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Molly, thank you for that one. And now I think that takes us to the firefighters.
It does. So, as I'm sure you all recall, our last bargaining cycle with the fire union ultimately was resolved through the JLMC process, the Joint Labor Management Committee, which leaves, really little room for direct dialogue between the different parties. So, as a result, for this cycle, there was a significant amount of cleanup and clarification for contract language. And I really just want to give a huge shout out to the Union's e-board and Chief London, Assistant Chief McCarthy, who spent hours and hours and hours working on language updates that were due 6 years ago, and we're finally getting around to it. So those really significant changes impact the promotional policy and the sick leave bank policy. So as with the other two unions, the economic components have been reviewed by our favorite finance director. They fall within our sustainable budget model, and we are asking the board to ratify.
Did anyone have any questions with respect to the changes and what's been put in front of us?
I do not.
None from me. Thanks for the change, Molly. I'd be happy to make a motion, Rob.
Please.
I make a motion the Select Board vote to sign the memorandum of agreement between the town of Westwood and the Westwood Permanent Firefighters Association, Local 1994 IAF, for fiscal years 27 to 29.
I second that.
Roll call, Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And that goes to the next, has to do with, I believe, an acceptance of a grant. Is it not, Molly?
I'll go through those. So we have two grants before you tonight. The first is for the board to accept the FY26 MIAA Automated Risk Management Grant on behalf of the IT department. The Westwood IT department was awarded a grant for $9,058 to add card readers and secure doors to all of the IT infrastructure rooms of town buildings.
Any questions from either of my colleagues?
No.
All right, Joe, I'd entertain a motion.
I'd be happy to. I make a motion Select Board accept for FY26 MIAA Automated Risk Management Grant of $9,058.
I second that.
Roll call, Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
So then
Okay, if you want to go to the next grant?
The second is for the board to accept the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program grant on behalf of the Department of Public Works. This grant is directly tied to Westwood's recycling goals. So this program is designed to increase the diversion of materials from solid waste stream through recycling and composting programs. So Westwood received $4,620 under this grant, which will help the DPW bolster their recycling, composting, and waste reduction efforts.
Now, Molly, I have a question. This may be more for Todd. I know at one point we were doing an education program for the community regarding things that were entering the recycling stream that could have resulted in some penalties for us. Have we made progress against that goal?
We have made progress against the goal. I couldn't give you the specifics. And so this was this grant was formed by the Healy Driscoll administration to really incentivize towns to get better at it. So this grant is a direct result of Westwood residents recycling better.
And I'd like to also acknowledge the Westwood Environmental Action Committee's role in helping get those stickers dispersed around town as well. So I would entertain a motion if there are no questions from my colleagues.
I'd be happy to do so. I'd
Thank
like to make the motion, select board accept the Sustainable Materials Recovery Program SMRP municipal grant for $4,620 and to authorize the town administrator to sign that contract. And I'd also like to thank the folks that applied for these two grants.
And I second all of that.
Excellent. Roll call vote. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And next, I can't believe we are here, and I don't know if we have Dottie back at all, but it's time to open the 2026 annual town meeting warrant. Our meeting is scheduled for this year, Monday, May 4th, and we typically open the warrant in the final month of the calendar year for any articles that may be proposed at the upcoming town meeting. And we will need to receive any petition articles that are submitted with 10 or more signatures of registered voters. If residents are considering a petition article, petitioners should present and review a draft of their petition language with the Finance and Warrant Commission, a select board member, and/or town council before obtaining signatures to ensure that the petition can be acted upon. Of those, I would probably start with town council. And so we will be closing the annual town meeting warrant at our first meeting in January of 26. Any questions or conversation with respect to opening the warrant?
Sounds like it's too soon.
Feels like that every year, doesn't it, Joe?
Shoot. I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
All right,
I'd be happy to
Joe,
make a motion. Yeah.
please.
I'd like to make a motion, select board, a vote to open the 2026 annual town meeting warrant and indicate its plans to close the warrant at its first meeting in January 2026.
I second that.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, the warrant is open.
Rob, I'm going to recuse myself from the next item, so I'm going to go off video.
Thank you very much.
Tish, if you could let me know, please, when to come back. Thank you very much.
All right, our next agenda item is the transfer of funds that we do quarterly to Westwood Media Center. And as we do this, we have contracts with both Verizon and Comcast for PEG access funding to Westwood Media Center. As folks are aware, the town negotiates those payments from Comcast and Verizon. And then per those agreements, the town then transfers the funds pursuant to an agreement that we have with Westwood Media Center within 30 days of their receipt. So we have received Comcast funds in the amounts of $41,197.70. We received that on November 11th, so we need to transfer that. We also received an additional $4,326.41 from Comcast. And then we also received on November 14th, as part of the franchising fee, $37,035.66 from Verizon. So for a total of $82,559.77 is what we are looking to transfer. Joe, do you have any questions regarding our standard transfer?
None at all. Well done.
All right.
I'd be happy to make a motion.
Please.
Make motion, the select board approve the transfer of $45,524.11 from Comcast, as well as $37,035.66 from Verizon, totaling $82,559.77 to Westwood Media Center per license agreements and the Westwood Media Center agreements signed by the select board.
I'm going to second that out of necessity. Roll call, Joe.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. So that has passed and is authorized to transfer. Tish, if you could let Marianne know she can rejoin.
I'm back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we have appointments and reappointments. Molly, you want to take us through these?
We have three before. I'm going to take two and then I'll hand one back over to you. The first is just a cleanup. On June 23rd of this year, the select board reappointed Steve Olenoff to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council for a one-year term. And upon review, it was determined that that appointment should be for a 3-year term. So the board is being asked to amend its June 23rd decision to reflect a 3-year term expiring June 30th, 2028. And then the second one I have for you is Mark Phillips' term on the Dedham Westwood Water District Board of Commissioners representing Westwood is due to expire on December 31st of this year. Mr. Phillips has expressed an interest in continuing to serve. We're very grateful. And Director Blake Lewis supports his reappointment. So those are the two that I have, and then I'm going to turn it to you to talk about long-range financial planning. Go
Sure thing. So, Long Range Financial Planning Committee met this last week, and we are going to have a recommendation that we appoint Nancy James and Phil Shapiro as co-chairs of the Long Range Financial Planning Committee. So the two of them have volunteered to take lead on that. I think it is a great idea to have that committee as we go through both the long-range financial plan and the overall facility studies, both the school and municipal side, to do some of the prioritization. I think it's great to have some additional voices and leadership on that. So, Nancy and Phil both willing to do so. You saw Nancy earlier tonight as far as her involvement in any number of things. She's on the Fire Station Steering Committee, which is a good liaison between the two, as well as many other things that she does in town. And Phil has obviously been a longtime volunteer in town, both as an elected official and in any number of boards and committees that he served on. So I think we have two outstanding folks to serve as co-chair, and I'm asking that we nominate them to be appointed as such tonight. Any questions from either of you on those two? And if not, we can take the entire slate and make it a group appointment.
I have no questions. I just want to thank Steve, Mark, Bill, and Nancy for stepping up and their ongoing contributions to the town.
I don't have any questions. I agree with what Marianne just said. Thank you for these folks for stepping up. And as such, I'll make a motion to the select board to take the following action. Select board amend the June 23rd, 2025 select board decision to appoint Stephen Olenoff to a 3-year term on the Metropolitan Area Planning Council to expire on June 30th, 2028. The select board to reappoint Mark Phillips to the Dedham Westwood Water District Board of Commissioners representing Westwood for a term to expire on December 31st, 2028. And for the select board to assign Phil Shapiro and Nancy James as co-chairs of the long range financial plan. It's getting late.
They're co-stars too, Joe.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking of that long range financial planning, but it's getting late, Rob. That's my motion. I'm sticking to it.
I appreciate it. Before you second, Marianne, I just have one question for town council that has to do with the Dedham Westwood water term. Do all the Dedham Westwood water terms go to December 31st? Are they they're calendar based?
They are, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
With
So,
that,
Marianne,
I will second that motion.
All right, roll call vote. Joe.
I'm happy to vote for the rock stars. Aye.
Marianne.
Indeed, aye.
All right, and I vote aye as well. So we have unanimous there. We are now to our select board liaison reports. Does anyone have anything to report from your respective committees?
At our last meeting, I had reported that I would be reporting on the Commission on Disability, but unfortunately our November meeting had to be canceled for lack of a quorum, but we're now scheduled to meet tomorrow night. So I hope to have an update for you at our next meeting.
And the only thing I have, Rob, is the housing production plan has been finalized. And as I mentioned earlier, several meetings earlier, the select board will be receiving a presentation regarding this. Westwood is committed to providing safe, affordable housing in our community, and this is an excellent plan to move forward with that goal. I'd like to thank the committee members, Chair Matthew Giordano, Mike McCusker, Joan Courtney Murray, Phil Giordano, Lou Rizzoli, as well as Molly and Amanda Wolf, who did an outstanding job on this.
Thank you, Joe. And then the only other update that I have has to do with the Long Range Financial Planning Committee. We met last Monday evening, and we had a great meeting welcoming our two newest members, and Eric Pelletier and Mary Ellen. Oh gosh, that's terrible. Paravolos, sorry, it's getting late, Joe, like you said.
Yeah.
So we had a good sort of kickoff meeting to sort of reacquaint people with our mission, and we are in the process of now establishing a much more regular interval of meetings to be able to review both the facility studies and revenue sources. And so more to come on that. Certainly follow those meetings as they will be broadcast and recorded via Westwood Media Center.
Rob, I got a chance to watch that. I thought it was a good meeting. That was a very good meeting. And
Thank you.
Speaking of which, Molly, the fire station working group meetings being recorded?
Yes, the meeting last week was recorded. We're having a little glitch getting it uploaded, but it should be up by the end of the week.
It
We're
happens.
gonna figure it out.
It happens. It happens. Okay. No, I thought it was a good meeting, Rob. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And just so you know, we're going to alternate on those meetings. Some will be morning and recorded via Zoom, and the opposite meeting will be in the evening. So those will be held at the library and be able to be recorded there as well. So,
well, I'd personally like to thank Westwood Media Center because it's such a relief when you're restricted in your activities. Rather than watching daytime TV, you can watch something that's intellectually stimulating. So
couldn't agree more, Joe. Couldn't agree more. And Charlotte, thank you for all you do and what you will be doing to pick up the slack in the interim. We now move on to our minutes. We have regular meeting minutes from November 10th, November 13th, November 16th, and the 17th of November. Did anybody have any questions or changes with respect to those minutes?
I do not.
As always, excellent.
All right, I would entertain a motion for each.
I'd be happy to make a motion that we accept the minutes of our November 10th regularly scheduled meeting.
I second that.
All right, roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the minutes of November 13th of our regularly scheduled meeting.
Second.
Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Mary Ann?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well.
I'd like to make a motion, we accept the minutes of our regularly scheduled meeting on November 16th.
I second that.
And I vote I'm sorry. Roll call. Joe?
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. And Joe, I don't think you can do this one as you were not present for the 17th. So Mary Ann, can I get you to make that motion, please?
Yes, I move that we approve the minutes of our regular meeting minutes for November 17th, 2025 as written.
Okay, and I will take a roll call. Actually, I will second that out of necessity. Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Joe, you're going to abstain?
Yes.
And I vote aye as well. Okay, our next meeting date is currently set for December 22nd. Am I correct on that one, Tish?
Correct.
All right, so we would be 6 p.m. via Zoom, and we will be getting ready to wish everyone a happy holiday and a happy new year at that meeting. So until then, thank you for joining us, and have a great night.
Thanks, Rob.
Nice job.
Good night, everyone.
Wait, hold on. Need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, shoot. I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
I second that.
Roll call, Joe.
Aye.
Marianne?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. Now we are adjourned. Good night,
Okay.
everybody.
Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.